Alrighty, hello, hello. Hopefully this is working and it's out there. How you doing, everybody? How's it going? Um, I am Squeetee. We're going to be doing some Ashes of Creation live stream stuff today. Um, their video just paused. Oh, a little glitchy. Anyway, so we're going to do some Ashes of Creation live stream. Basically, I'm going to watch what they're about to stream and then comment. And if you want to comment, please, by all means, comment with. I got my pizza here from Casey's. I got my Sprite. I almost thought it was Starry, but it's Sprite. I was working in my basement trying to finish it, which actually I was thinking about doing a video of like what I've been doing in my basement because I have done some like time lapse stuff. Not time lapse, but like just like update videos for myself. And I was just thinking about just uploading them to YouTube and everyone can see and blah blah blah. So, anyways, I'm gonna be eating pizza while we're watching this. Should start in about a minute. Let me make sure the sound's decent because I always freak out about that. I'm working in my basement. Oh, that was real loud. Well, if anyone's watching, tell me if it's too loud for you. But otherwise, yeah, we should have a good time. I am streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, X now, whatever it's called. Oops, wrong button. Speakers. There we go. That should work now. Cool. Usually the beginning's kind of slow, so we'll see how it goes. Actually, I kind of see what I look like if I'm actually streaming to Twitter. Because I don't know, I haven't checked. I just thought, what the hell, let's give it a try. Oh, I'm not even logged in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our
Merry Christmas.
December development update. We hope that you've been having. I know.
Wrong password. I don't even know what my password is.
For the year, that's crazy to say.
2023, that is crazy to say.
Yeah, the book is closing on 2023, but 2024 is going to be a very exciting one for us.
Whoops.
If you haven't been following along, Alpha 2 is happening in 2024. But we'll be, stick around to the end. We might have some other little announcements for you.
Yeah.
But,
more announcements.
Safe and,
I'll take it.
right now, so we wish you all happiness and safety. Especially.
I'm going to boost their volume a little.
But we've
Oh,
got
why is it so low?
good things
There we
to
go.
talk about. As you can see from below, we have our reminders today.
Hopefully that's a good sound for everybody.
Ranger update. So those of you who are Ranger folks out there, definitely get your bows prepared. Knock those arrows because we are going to be shooting all kinds of things today.
Yes. And it's been a while since we've had an archetype showcase. The last one was the cleric, which was several months ago.
That's true. And we have shown a preview of the Ranger. So if you have been following us for a while, you've seen a little bit of it, but it has changed quite a bit. And there are a lot more abilities to showcase for you all. And there's still more to come. So this is just still even just the cusp of it. So stick around with us. We got a journey. We'll do a little studio update. And of course, we have some cool art from our art team that they love to share with you guys. And then we'll do.
Guess I can't log into Twitch. What ad is this?
Stick around.
That's what I get for not paying Twitch Prime.
Through the updates. Also, Steven's background looks like it's fake, but I know it's real. Like I know that's what your office looks like, and every single time I see it, it looks like one of those fake backgrounds.
I know. It's very festive. I thought, it's December, Christmas. Maybe we'll do a little bit of the Christmas background. By the way, I love your tree in the background, that Phoenix tree. Holy smokes.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That is pretty cool.
Is that? So at the end of Christmas, does it just burn away, like it burns into ash, and then it reignites next season?
I got the flocked tree specifically because I was like, it gives the ashes vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it totally does. I think it looks great. I love
put
it.
This together in 20 minutes while baking broccoli.
we both have an element of fire in the background. I got the fireplace. You've got the Phoenix fire tree. That's kind of cool.
I put a festive sweater on. Well, it's actually a
I-
dress, but you can't.
Close enough.
John said I can't wear the Intrepid shirt. I have to do something that's like wintry look. So he wanted me to wear the
I was
the
gonna say
jacket.
I don't know if I've ever seen you wear like a white sweater before. It looks good. Looks good. But we are all festive. It is. I think even our PI folks, because we have like a PI meeting that we do every month. They were like, "You guys are so chill. You're calm." I think it's the calm before the storm at the
It's
end
the
of the
storm.
year.
Yeah, I was about to say it's just everyone's bracing, breathing in. Hold tight.
Ah.
Hold. That's what's
Um,
happening.
The team has been working really hard, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in our studio update.
Cool.
But of
All
course,
right. I think the stream's
let's
okay
get
now.
into our reminders.
Oh.
Thank you all for joining us. We hope that you are just as excited as us for the end of this year. And of course,
Finally eat
our
my
first
pizza.
one here is our YouTube subscribers comment spotlight. Don't forget that if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, make sure you have that public. And then also leave a comment on our next dev update. So this update when it goes live. And you too could be spotlighted.
I'm all sweaty.
This week's spotlight, or this month's spotlight, is infinitely random. And they want to know any plans to add AI voices to speechless text NPCs. And I thought we've talked a little bit about this
That'd be interesting.
before, so those of you who have been with us for a long time may have heard an answer. But I thought maybe this could be a cool way for us to also talk about AI in general and where our stance is on that, because obviously it's a big thing in this industry of this last year especially.
Yeah, I think that some of the technology and the advancements that we've seen, not just within the gaming industry, but a broad scope of AI influence, is something that we are keeping a close eye on, and we have some plans to investigate and inspect a few of the designs.
Don't spend too
and
much time,
approaches that
though.
we've taken, particularly as it relates, I think, to this question and AI voice over potential to influence our narrative loops and how players
I think that'd be cool.
interact with general AI dialogue, and there is an opportunity there.
Save a
but it's
lot of
not
money
one
on
that
voice
we
actors.
have fully explored yet, although it is on the docket for the first part of next year for us to analyze what potential exists from a leveraging standpoint for this new tech. And I would say stay tuned. Stay tuned next year as we give updates. You'll likely see some things, perhaps even in Alpha 2, that could relate to that. We'll see. But it is something we are aware of, and we are keeping close tabs on how to
That's a good question for once.
leverage.
I like it. That's a good question and a good follow-up.
All right. Hopefully that gives you enough fuel for your answer there, infinitely random, and we appreciate you subscribing to our channel. And
What do you guys think? Like, is that a great idea or
reminder also
waste of time?
that, hold on a second. I need to turn off these notifications. If you're hearing that, I apologize. It was my Slack notification going off. We also have our dev discussions up. Right now we have one, and we had teased this last time, about drop rarity. How do you feel when it comes to rare loot? Do you prefer when rare mobs and bosses drop something interesting often or less? Let us know what your thoughts are. I mean, I know
Yes
most
and no.
of you are out there hunting for gear progression, and you definitely have thoughts on this. So please head on over to our forum.
I don't mind rare
Give us
cosmetic
your thoughts
items.
on it so that we can wrap that
But there is a
up
point where
and send it over to our
if you make
development team.
a
And our next one is going to
combat
be
item too
retrieval
rare,
skills. So if you're interested,
then there gives an unfair advantage to people.
I think even someone put in a question that was specifically about like.
But you can always put time and effort into balance that.
If you have thoughts, make sure that you are sharing them with us, because the development team is pretty adamant about checking out our reports.
Yeah.
And we always.
And
love
that's a
sharing
big
them.
question. That's a big question too. I mean, I remember some of the games that I have played, some MMOs in the past, where this was long before the standardized modernization of like every participant gets a bound item when the raid ends. This was like, no, the raid boss was a loot pinata, and maybe it took 100 people to kill it, but it only dropped like 6 or 7 complete items, and you had to orchestrate, like alliances would orchestrate their own like itemization owner who would like keep a list of the participants that were attending. Yeah, absolutely.
Did that for my
You
guild.
have to assign that out. I mean, that was the old school way of approaching it. So when you guys go, I like it too, personally. And when you go,
it makes it more challenging, and it makes the replayability of it is there because you need it. And
absolutely.
then also, you know, you extend it to alts if there's drops that
Yeah.
like, you know, are
Yeah.
too common or whatever. Yeah.
This is a great topic for you guys to go and comment on the forums and kind of give your
It is a
experiences
good
and
one.
expectations, because it helps to validate our
I know.
approach, or give us
For most
situations of
combat items, I
corrections.
think it should be pretty.
Oftentimes,
Well,
I
like,
will say that when we're going through
it's
these
not shouldn't
reports,
be
it's always
limited
like
too
the team's
much.
like, yep. They're like on the same page as you guys, which I think for the most part is pretty awesome. There are some cases where obviously we're gonna follow our design passion and love because we're like, you don't think you want this, but you do. And we'll test those out. And like Stephen always says, in our alpha and beta phases, even when we launch, you know, if there's drastic feedback, we're going to
Sorry, I'm
analyze that
hungry,
feedback. We're
guys.
going to analyze the data. We're going to make
Oh,
sure that we're
absolutely.
making good decisions as we move forward. Because I think that sometimes
I totally lost track of
I've
time.
noticed
What was going on?
many MMOs or just games in general, and when developers aren't willing to like see the side of the player, then that's the problem. But fortunately, we are all players, so that is the beauty of it, and we are playing our game every
Yes.
day. It is
I know.
mandatory.
Exciting.
And of course, we did do a holiday
I want to play every
delicious
day.
discussion that we had posted up on the forum.
Literally.
And it looks like the Tulnar theme recipes for the delicious dev discussions, as well as the bonus Dunir recipes, are up on the forums. So congratulations to the Tulnar. They won. I loved working with.
Everyone's going to be a
Jeff,
Tolnar
aka
when the game
Wagner.
launches.
Did an amazing
Like,
job putting these
I
together.
feel everybody wants to be
Recipes.
the monsters of the world, unless you want to be a dwarf, a freakish old dwarf.
Thank you, Mike, for that. This isn't all of the recipes, but it's kind of cute. And of course, we'll also post them not in an image like this with just the text. Vecna has been really conscious of that because obviously some of you guys are going to copy paste it or translate it for your localization. So
Just retype it.
Enjoy that. We're excited. We hope that you'll make some of these delicious meals as well. So send them to us over on our Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere, all of our social channels. If you do end up making these over the holiday break, we would love to see them. Yeah, we're excited. I'm really
Yeah, that'll
excited
be
for the
fun.
glow in the dark noodles, the Underrealm noodles.
Oh my God, that'd
Yeah.
be cool. How'd you get them glow in the dark?
Yeah, there's like a thing in there. If you look, I can't remember what the piece is.
What?
It's like
Can't
sounds
read
like
it with
some
the tiny
some-
text that I'm looking at.
sounds
it.
like some significant carcinogens probably in this.
I did say that too. I was like, I don't know if that's healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's have the chef who wrote it make it once.
Just to be clear, these recipes are not evaluated by the FDA in any way, shape, or form.
That's fair. That's fair.
Hey, you get sued, Stephen.
Create them at your own will. You don't have to eat them. You can just create it. And of course, don't forget to share your creations with us. We do want to see them if you do end up doing it. And if you enjoyed that, definitely give us feedback in the forums over there that you enjoyed seeing the recipes or doing that type of thing and getting kind of an insight into some of the recipes for the different races.
Yes.
Next up, we just have a reminder that our Unseen Order cosmetics will be ending on January 17th, 2024 at 11 a.m. Pacific. So if you would like a pre-order pack, now is the time to grab a pre-order pack. We will be assessing our server capacity and things of that sort and like where we're at in regards to that as we go into Alpha 2. So we may expand the ability to get access to Alpha 2 in other ways, but this is the last pre-order pack that will be available. So if you are interested,
I hate this pre-order pack. I'm sorry,
but a lot of goodies in it for
I just don't like the look.
The worth of the whole value of the package.
It is happening.
Yes, because there is time too that's incorporated in that, like game time. And game time is expensive.
Very true.
And there's also an FAQ up. So if you have questions in regards to anything, there's answers for you over there. And like I said, there will be other opportunities potentially to get access to Alpha 2. It's just that we are trying to close things down to make sure that we're in a good space and we're ready and we know what our concurrency is going to be when we go into that.
Okay.
Some of you have played many MMOs. We want to make sure that the server experience is in a good place.
My hair must look horrible.
We have just a reminder of the content creator program. It is still up for application phase. We will probably
Why?
be closing the application phase for a little bit of time as we're going through those. We're going to be
This content program has been open
powering through that soon.
for like a
So
year and a
if you're
half,
interested,
and no
if
one's
you're
been
already
chosen.
on it, then you're good to go. Or if you're already on it and you need to edit it, you should be able to go to that form and edit it. And
I don't know. That seems a little.
as well. We will do our best to get back.
I don't
to
know why they're
everybody.
taking
Steven
so long.
wants us to get back to everyone, even if you're not in the program, so you have a confirmation of whether you are or aren't. And then also we are
A thumbs up or thumbs down is nice for everybody. I'm not getting it. I know that.
Aren't in the quite
Even though I
for the
applied.
program, but we think with a little training they could be.
Little
and give us some
training?
advice. So it's gonna be a lot of staffing that we need to do on our end, but I think that in the long run we're gonna have a really, really cool content creator program. Like I haven't seen at any other company before that
Agreed.
I've worked for.
Yeah.
So.
It is
And it's
very,
an important
very
part.
smart
Content
to
creators
do.
are a big portion of how the company is able to communicate with its audience. And
Yeah, and it's free advertisement for the game.
but also to hone
It's
the techniques.
ingenious what
And
they're doing.
think that
I love Steven.
this particular program
He
is
does
going
some
to be
really smart
very
things.
Useful
Look at all the
for a lot
grease.
of people.
Or in the trash.
To
And
make
for us
sure
to
they're
work with folks. And I do want to make
Absolutely.
it clear we're not looking for people who are only big creators, right? Just because you have
Correct.
200 subscribers, that's not a big deal to us. We're still going to be working with you just as much as we would.
Did
work
she
with
say
someone who's
200
200,000.
subscribers?
So it's really a matter of you're obviously going to get less codes than that person because you have less followers, but like.
You know,
make sure that
I have no
you're
problem with this
successful and
program.
get there
I just wish they would have
quickly. It's
like
also
trickled
still
out
fair
some
to our
people's
users.
invites.
I think that's
Yeah.
also important. I think a lot of us have played in games where like content creators get benefits that are like better than everybody else. You're like, what? It really is more about a relationship. Beyond that, I've been.
Would I
trying
love to be a
and,
content creator? Yeah.
Promotion as well.
I'm not
There are
much
other
of a-
programs that will come into play down the line, like guilds, those type of things. So if
I don't
there's
wanna
any
say it.
specific
I'm not a
activities,
content creator
so
that
as-
just
as
like
we- as we get
makes
closer to
videos
launch
over.
those
I
programs,
play the game and then I'll make content about it, like just
come online,
gameplays.
based on
That's what I do.
What our users are doing and how we can engage with
I
them
find that to be the most fun.
that
Where I'm just playing the
stuff so that you
game,
can
having
be
fun
able to
myself. People can join in if they
whatever our
like.
community's
Have a
gravitating
great time.
towards, that's where we're gonna try to help uplift you guys. It's definitely a mutual thing. So we really want to be engaged with our audience, unlike some other games that we've been part of. I'm not gonna call out names.
No.
And with that, I think I have covered all of our reminders. So, do you want to preface anything with the Rangers?
I do. I do want to preface some things. So, first of all, I do want to say that we have heard our community with the way that we present the live stream showcases. And I've asked Margaret to prepare the YouTube video to launch simultaneously with the presentation on Twitch.
Why?
So for those of you, here's what I would ask, who want to go watch it in 4K while the stream is still continuing. You can do so on YouTube. It'll be up in just a few moments, right when we started here. But make sure that you're still offering your comments in Twitch, because I do read those. Margaret reads them. The team reads them.
I don't get
It's
why
very
they did
important.
this.
And come and join us afterwards for the discussion as well. So you're not allowed to leave necessarily. You can't just go watch the YouTube video and then sign off. You have to still
Also,
watch the stream.
If you haven't noticed, I grab questions from the channel.
Yes.
Roshan and Vector both pop questions over here in the different various places that they're at. So we are, if you want, if you
I
have
don't get
questions
why
and
you would
want to
divide
while
your
you're watching,
audience.
making sure that you post in like
I
a
don't
Twitch
know.
channel is very important so that we can.
I wouldn't do that, but hey, that's fine.
Absolutely, 100%. Now, about the showcase. So, as Margaret said, and as you guys have been anticipating, we are going to be looking at the Ranger archetype. And again, this is a work in progress. The UI is still
It's
very
all a work in
much
progress.
functional UI. The VFX still have multiple rounds of passes that need to be done on them. But this gives you an understanding kind of the direction that the archetype progression and development has gone as it relates specifically to the Ranger. And of course, you can derive from that insights for other classes and other archetypes and how they will interact. This is a very fun showcase, obviously, with the combat team. Trad, Brian, and Keenan joined me. They've been regulars on the show in the past. The last time we've discussed the Ranger was actually in 2022, and it was a very brief discussion about ranged basic weapon combat with a
Yeah,
few, maybe
I
2
don't
or
remember
3
that.
ranger abilities sliced in. Today, you're going to be watching near 1 hour presentation that talks about upwards of
Oh,
18,
it's gonna be a
19
long
different
video.
abilities with some 20 odd passives and weapon progression tree. When you analyze this, I did turn off cooldowns, of course, at the beginning to kind of demonstrate each of the abilities. I turned them back on afterwards. Very two important things to keep in mind when you're thinking about feedback and you're thinking about essentially what you want to share about your thoughts for the presentation is on the abilities, the status conditions that get applied, and how they promote the role the role of the archetype as well, being a ranger and not seeing, potentially a lot of melee abilities, but a lot of ranged. So focus on those two aspects, the interconnectivity with the other classes from a group perspective, and each of the individual abilities. We're going to be
And that's
in
not to say that you could not spec more melee oriented.
absolutely.
Right. I just want to
Yes,
make it clear
correct.
to
Yes.
people.
Okay.
And very clear to remember this is base archetype. So this is not class. This is not the combination of your secondary, which will fundamentally change through the augment system some of those basic abilities. So without further ado, enjoy the presentation.
We'll see you on the flip side.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another day in Vera. We have a very exciting stream for you today. It has been some time since we have showed off a bit of the ranged combat, and today we are going to be talking about the Ranger archetype with some 17, 18, 19 skills. I can't remember what we're going to be showcasing today in the base archetype,
500.
but it is a whole lot of Ranger. And I have joining us today 3 of our glorious developers, 2 of our senior
I like this outfit.
designers, Trad and Brian. Trad, Brian, how you guys doing?
Where are they?
Doing good. Glad to be here. I think it's been a couple since we did our last combat showcase.
I know.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Happy to show off the Ranger.
Yeah, you've been putting in a lot of work on this, Brian. I
Not
know this is
not just me, the whole team.
absolutely the whole team. But Rangers are near and dear to your heart, right? Aren't you a Ranger player? Don't you play some Rangers?
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite favorite classes. They're often not done justice in games, so getting the opportunity to do right by Ranger mains makes me happy.
Yes. And then, of course, the man behind the magic, the senior engineer and the owner for the PC core team, Keenan. How you doing, Keenan?
I'm alive. Happy to be here, though.
Yeah, this is, by the way, this is a really cool environment. I see Carvin in the background. We're here in winter. It is, it's definitely giving me the Christmas vibes.
The tree just fell.
It is beautiful.
I had to call it out.
Holy smokes, what an amazing job. I love the snow, everything. It feels so cozy.
It does.
Now, we have, let's see, I'm in your party. We have established from some feedback from the community on the showcasing that little one by one of each ability before we get into any combat situations with some mobs or NPCs is desired. It's a nice clean way for us to kind of showcase obviously all the hard work that's gone into the creation of this excuse me, into the creation of this archetype. I apologize for coughing, guys. I've recently got sick and I'm still recovering a little bit.
Stupid ads.
I am doing much better now. So I think this is a great place. What is this, like some dried up riverbed or something? It looks pretty cool. Get some nice colors in here. Now, obviously, as a disclaimer, before we begin, I do want to say that UI, VFX, 100% a work in progress. Oh my God, there's a bird up there. And
I got him.
Oh, thank you. Good. A scary little bird.
Calm down.
The UI is a work in progress. The VFX are a work in progress. Everything here is subject to change through testing. Obviously, Alpha 2 coming up is going to be a big opportunity for us to test a lot of this stuff. So please keep that in mind, especially you content creators out there who are going to do some review videos. Make sure you mention that at the start of your videos. Keenan, how do you feel about being a targeting dummy for the showcase of these abilities?
I'll tank it.
All right, let's do that. And do you have a healer? Tread? Very
Trad's
cool.
got me.
All right, Tread's got you.
It's all on me here.
All right, there we go. All right, so I am now no longer in your party, so that I can murder you. But I have set my cooldowns to.
I'm excited to
0.5
see
minutes
this.
so that I can show each of these abilities off multiple times.
I'm not really a ranger,
So please keep in mind.
but I do like to see,
guys, as you're out there watching
as a
this
tank,
display, the
I will have to
cooldowns
deal with my arch
are
nemesis,
set to
the ranged enemy.
nothing. Now we're going to
Good
do
to-
combat
it's
afterwards.
my-
I'll set cooldowns
it's a pain.
back, but during this display they're set to nothing. Let us showcase our first ability. I see we have Snipe, and we showed Snipe off last year when we did our last ranged basic weapon combo update, and people got to see a little preview of it last month as well during our artisanship review. But talk to me about some of the changes that Snipe has gone through and what this ability serves as a purpose. Brian.
Yeah, so with Snipe, we've been leaning into it being an alpha strike ability. So it's what you want to open with to deal massive damage. And since it's got that charge up time, it's not as good to do when you're needing to kite something, but whenever you're just opening on something that's an unsuspecting target, it's
That's a
the
big
perfect
hit.
ability for it. And if you have spec choices, there's other things that lean into it. For instance, you got that proc on you right now that's giving you 20% bonus attack speed on a successful snipe.
Oh, very cool.
wait.
Okay, let me take a look at that.
Fire it again. You'll see it.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah, Trad helped with this. He added this into the skill tree. Yeah, it just procced on you there. So
Oh, there it is.
yeah, so your follow-up shots will come out even quicker.
Cool. So that proc is happening because I have spec'd into a passive. And let's take a look.
Yes.
This is the first time
Ooh,
that people
that's a
have
hell
actually
of a
seen
Skill
the
tree.
progression tree for a particular archetype in quite a while, actually, probably since our Alpha 1. But there has been a lot of work that's gone into this from you guys, of course.
Looks
Talk to me a little bit about
kinda like
the
Star Wars
archetypes and
Galaxies, honestly.
abilities we're seeing here.
Trad, do you want to take this one? 'Cause
I'm
you
not
did a
sure
lot
where
with
you
this.
start though.
Sure. I mean,
Down here?
we're gonna go through all these
And
as we
then
go through.
as soon as you work your way up,
one by one.
split.
But what you're seeing at a
Huh.
high level here is just what you'd pretty much expect of a traditional skill tree. We're doing something a little more advanced than just like a bottom-up structure because we're being a little bit more freeform in this iteration. This will obviously see more UI iterations in the future, but you'll see like a mix of active and passive abilities here. Actives are indicated by their square shape, while the circular ones are representing passives. And one thing
I
to
like
note as
that.
well is that
Okay.
these passives are aiming to be a little more interesting than just like, this ability does more damage now, or this, it has a lower cooldown. Like we do have some of those too, but the goal with a lot of these passives, in addition to that, is to allow people to lean into unique playstyles. So you'll notice that some of them are
That's
changing your
cool.
gameplay in meaningful ways, and that's the direction we want to take player and character customization as a whole.
Very cool. Yeah, I love it. Obviously, this is all subject to intense feedback from the testers who will be participating as part of Alpha 2. All
yeah.
this stuff is subject to change, as I said, but it gives you guys a very good idea direction-wise, and your feedback is, of course, why we
I'll
do
be
these
honest,
development
their
updates.
UI
Sure,
doesn't bother.
you give us
It's
your
fine
thoughts
as
feedback
is.
on this type of
You
progression.
don't need to do
In
something
addition
crazy
to
for
the
UI.
archetype progression tree, we also have something
As
that
long as I can
interacts
move
with
it.
each of the archetypes, and that is a weapon progression tree as well. Now, obviously, the format of this particular weapon skill tree that you're seeing here is a relatively simplistic one, but talk to me a little bit about the intent and purpose behind the weapon skill tree.
Yeah, so the intent here is to give you choices. Either I want to extend and improve my combo, or I want just passive benefits that increase my attack speed or crit chance in this case with the short bow. And yeah, as you can see, the tree's a lot more simple, kind of like a stage 1 tree, work in progress, but it'll get fancier over time.
And I see on the far right-hand side, Brian, that there are additional combo steps. So let me actually unspec these additional combo steps so that we can talk first about the basic
Okay.
weapon combo. And I'm just going to demonstrate that here. I'm going to use the short bow. Now, this is a short bow we are using. You guys remember from last year when we showcased ranged weapons that we had Obviously, a number of them. Some of them arcane, some of them physical. But the two bow types that we have are longbow and short bow. I'm using the short bow. As
What's
you
the
can see, it is
difference?
a
That's what I need to know.
a short bow. And let's see what this looks like without the combo upgrade.
That's quick. Okay.
That's 4 hits.
Very cool. So it's relatively rapid pace, especially compared to that of the longbow that you guys got to see a little while ago. Let us talk about speccing now into these additional combo steps. And what does that do?
Gotta get the first one, Steven.
Oh, you know what?
Yes. So,
Steven, it's your game.
we've done a lot of experimentation over the past couple months to find out what's the shortest and what's the longest combo that's acceptable. Because we had this goal where we wanted to have combo length
There it goes.
progression available to players, so that certain
So what do you
builds
guys
can
think of
have
this?
longer weapon
What's your
combos, and other
thoughts?
builds can have shorter weapon combos with more passive effects. And this has been the result of our exploration. So when you start out, you've got a pretty quick 4-hit combo, but whenever you unlock the additional hits, you get the 5th and 6th hits, which add approximately 50% to the overall combo length. But we found that gave a pretty satisfying floor and ceiling to how long the combo can be.
That's
Definitely,
interesting.
yeah, I can feel absolutely the change, obviously, in the pace between not having specced into the combo and getting those additional 5th and 6th steps.
So in addition to the later hits in the combo doing additional damage, you also unlock proc effects. So on your 5th hit, you unlock the special 5th hit, which gives you 10% bonus critical strike chance, which you just proc there. And then the 6th hit, you unlock the special 6th hit, which gives you Arrow Storm, which causes your next, I believe, 10 attacks to fire an additional arrow at the target.
Oh, that's crazy.
Very cool.
So that combos really well with rapid fire abilities such as the next ability we're going to be looking at.
All right, let's take a look at Barrage. So Barrage is as far as a continual barrage of arrows at your target for 1.5 seconds, dealing 12% physical damage per arrow. Okay, let's take a look at this.
It might not seem like a lot per arrow, but it
Oh my
fires a lot of
gosh.
arrows.
Now that's a charge. Is this a charged ability? Do I have multiple charges of
It's
this?
channel.
No.
Right now, you
single
only
charge.
have 1 charge,
Okay.
and we did some iterations with this, and a lot of play testing, and yeah, we changed this back to only having 1 charge, and you can reduce the cooldown of this by completing a weapon combo.
Okay, alright.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So if I complete a weapon combo, it would reduce the cooldown. Now, right now I'm set to 0 cooldown, so we can show that off a little bit later. Talk to me a little bit about Headshot.
Yeah, headshot. It starts off. So there's ways that you can specialize this that turn it into the execute that it was born as originally.
This is arrow
It
curving.
does pretty high damage, but if you spec it appropriately, it does bonus damage when the target's below 50% health.
That's
and if
weird.
the target is marked, it has 50%
It's
reduced.
curving around.
cooldown.
He's like in the movie Wanted, where they're whipping the guns and shooting them and stuff.
So if I have a mark on the target, then I get a 50% cooldown.
Yeah, you get 50% reduced cooldown on headshot.
Nice.
That's cool.
Now, we haven't talked about marks before. You want to talk to me a little bit about the intent behind marks?
Yes. What is
Yep.
the attempt?
The intent behind marks is to provide a burst window on the target. Often in other games, it's just bonus damage. This is much more significant on the impact that this will have on the target. It's basically marking the target for death has a pretty huge effect. For instance, Mark of the Tiger, it grants 50% bonus critical chance to all attacks striking the target. Mark of the Bear is minus 25% armor, and Mark of the Raven is a bonus hit that occurs every time the target is struck, and it scales up in damage based on how low on health the target is.
Okay, so let me try Mark of the Bear. So this reduces their mitigation by 25%. So when I use an ability first,
Okay.
like Headshot, I just did 76 damage. If I were to start Headshot and then I can use the Mark of the Bear while I'm channeling or casting the Headshot, it will apply to the target while I'm essentially using headshot.
Really?
Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Keenan and the engineers made us some awesome you might know it in other games as off global cooldown tech. We call it simultaneous casting. And yeah, that allows you to cast your marks at the same time as other abilities, allowing for very efficient use of time.
See?
Okay.
Macros! That's all I'm gonna do is just macro like crazy.
That's a significant bump.
Yeah, Mark of the Bear is really good against tanky targets.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mark of the Raven. Let's take a look at this. I love the effects. Scott
I
has
do
done
too.
Such a great job with these.
Yeah, I love
Marks
that he
a target,
decided to
increasing
join the
critical
VFX team
chance
and come over and help us with combat. He's
versus
doing a great
something.
job so far.
Absolutely. Let's see. Oh, they look great. Very cool. That's awesome. Now, in addition to marks, talk to me, Trad, a little bit about hunts. What are the hunts intended to do?
For sure. So unlike marks, which are debuffs on the target, hunts are different buffs you can put on yourself. They both
Oh,
aim pretty similarly.
okay.
At first, we had started with linking these two concepts directly, like you would put the hunt on yourself and then shoot that hunt out as a mark, and infuse the target with that. But we ended up kind of separating them just to make them a little bit more independently and freely usable. But the theme
Okay.
you can see is the same. We've chosen the tiger, bear, and raven animals, but they're stay tuned for more. And yeah, like you guys are talking about, the visuals for these are really cool. But yeah, you'll these are basically like different buffs that you will put on yourself, and they do tend to have some synergy with their respective thematic creatures.
Interesting. Okay.
So I used Mark of the Raven this time. I was doing 96 damage, but that's because I had Hunt of the Raven, which is giving me additional physical penetration. But let me use
Okay.
Mark of the Bear on
How
the
long does
target
the
while
hunt
having
last?
that hunt active, and now instead of doing 117, I'm doing 179. Wow.
That's a big bonus.
That's
But what's the cooldown on those?
That's
It
because
shows 3 seconds, but what's the planned cooldown?
Try this. Hold on. Mark of the Tiger. So no, that's increasing critical chance. Mark of the Bear is now. Here we go. Let's try that. Okay.
Maybe Keenan doesn't have enough armor for the extra to help.
Oh, poor Keenan. Not enough armor.
Gray armor.
He's in kind of some newbie gear down there.
Oh no. Okay. All right.
But that is the thing about the armor pen, is that will scale more and more effectively the more armored your target is. So you can think of it as
Makes
like
sense.
a counter
Okay.
Cool.
for people who build that up.
That looks awesome. All right, so now we also have Scattershot, and this is one of our first AoE abilities. Talk to me a little bit about
Okay.
Yes, like you said, it's a AoE ability. It fires out in a cone in front of you, about 20 meters ahead. And we've got some pretty cool tech with this. The first is we're drawing a targeting decal that only the caster can see, to help like align the cast as you're firing it. The second cool thing that we're doing here is you can actually charge the ability into a beam, which is better for lower amount of targets. So if you just want to hit a wide field of targets, you would just quick cast it. But if you were interested in AoEing a specific smaller pack, it'd be more efficient for you to do the charge cast.
Oh, very cool.
Very cool. So if I have to hold the charge to completion to get the additional damage value, essentially.
Yes.
Very cool. Now this is obviously a big point of feedback
I like that. That is a
that I think people
unique
can provide.
ability.
There's a lot of interesting thoughts around subjective, of course, around UI and decal elements that help to communicate kind of these AoEs. As Brian said, this is obviously going to be a decal that is only shown to the caster, not shown across to multiple players. But what is
I like
the
that. I'm
desire
down for that.
our community when it comes to showcasing and demonstrating kind of the area of effect for certain types of spells? Do you want something? Obviously, this is done very elegantly. I think Scott did this one as well. I think it looks great.
Yes.
But this is something that is a point of feedback that we want to collect from players as you guys get to kind of play through Alpha 2, and as you're seeing these these updates. What do you enjoy most about conveying
these area of effects. And this isn't the only area of effect spell we have. We also have Airstrike, and we've seen Airstrike in the past as well, but this one's received a little bit of TLC. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, and just real quick, the reason why you're hearing my voice a lot is I'm the owner of the Rangers, so
Yes.
I'm in charge of this class, so that's why I'm the one that's why you're hearing my voice a lot. Anyways, Airstrike, we gave this an update. We replaced the particle effects because they were way too laggy. So
Yeah, they
Scott,
were.
Again, did a pass on these. They look amazing. We also let you have air control with this, so you can steer it while you're in the air.
Oh, I like that.
We fine-tuned the animation.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Alex put in some time to make sure that it's holding you only for the right amount. It's not grabbing you and locking you in place weirdly on landing. We really polished up how it feels whenever you use it.
That's really cool.
So it's just really seamless and nice to use. Oh, and the effect that it's providing, if you actually hit a target with it, it does pretty big damage and also roots the target. So this is a really good skill whenever your tank pulls in a big pack of monsters. You just airstrike over top of it, lock it all down in place, and then you and your mages blow up the pack.
I think it looks great.
I think it looks great too.
They look awesome. The additional functionality that you guys incorporated.
What do you guys think?
Controlling the
Like, is this
air movement,
look
I think,
good?
is something that people are going to love.
I like the fact you can turn while in the air.
Airstrike also is a
Not realistic,
significant,
but still pretty
benefit
cool.
for the Ranger because it's, in addition to damage, is also a CC effect. Talk to me a little bit about the CC that Airstrike conveys, and what's its intended purpose like in combat.
Leave
There's
great
mobility associated with it. There's damage associated with it. There's CC. It's kind of has a broad
Brooding
spectrum
targets for
effect
3
to it.
seconds. Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful ability and it has a long cooldown because it's providing that wide spectrum of effect. The Ranger is one of the most mobile classes. It's second to the Rogue only. So this is part of how we're providing that mobility benefit. And yeah, whenever you hit targets, they're rooted in place. They cannot move. So it's very effective as an escape tool, but also a hard engage tool that kind of puts you at risk, but if you got a tank and a cleric at your back, maybe that's the right calculus for your play.
Absolutely. All right,
Interesting.
cool. Let us try.
That's interesting. Now I gotta
Talk to me a little
think
bit
about
damage.
how that interaction would happen.
Yeah, this is definitely a favorite ability on the team by a lot of people. It shoots a lightning arrow at the target, and if you're far enough away, I believe the conversion range is 10 meters, it does an additional AoE explosion around the target.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so that did 96. Let's see if I'm closer. Ah.
So you want to be
Okay,
at
so
a
there's variable
distance.
amount of damage, and also it changes it to be AoE around the target.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you get more damage. We wanted to have some abilities in the kit, at least with the showcase that we're showing right now, where it's range focused, where there is some advantage for staying at range, and also there's some advantage for closing on a ranger.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool.
Okay,
Next
I like
up, we
that.
have another lightning ability, but this one's called Lightning Reload. Talk to me a little bit about Lightning Reload, Trad.
Sure. This one's more of a self buff effect. When you put it on
Okay.
yourself, it will allow you to use one of a few abilities without spending its cooldown. So I believe a couple of them are like snipe, headshot, thundering shot, ones we've already been through.
Okay.
If you
So if
pop
I
it
wanna
first,
double snipe,
you get about a 5-second window, and
I
if
would
you
have to
use
hit
one of those
that.
abilities within that window, it will not trigger the CD, meaning you could use it twice back to back. You can also even use something that's already on cooldown by popping that first, so it's not like you have to already have
Oh.
it available.
Oh, okay.
So
Say
use
you
it in a lot
find
of
somebody,
features.
you do the jump where you go over them,
Brian, what
to
are some
root
typical
them.
combos with this?
beat them in the
Yeah,
pop in the back,
one of my
and then as they
favorite
charge
ones,
you, hit that
is the
jump
triple
back
headshot
over.
combo. So if a target is marked,
Oh,
headshot on them has 50% reduced cooldown if you're spec'd for it. So what you can do is you can mark someone, you can headshot, and as you're charging at the first headshot, throw a mark. And then whenever the headshot hits, you lightning reload, and then you get 2 more headshots right after that. And it makes a really nasty combo for finishing off a target that's already below 50% health, because you're getting that bonus damage on headshot too at that point, which makes its efficiency per second higher than snipe.
Okay, so with Mark of the Raven,
That's cool.
okay, which one gives the mark benefit you were talking about for headshot?
Oh, any of the marks will do it.
Okay,
any of the
cool.
marks will provide a 50% reduced cooldown on headshot.
All right.
Oh,
I
okay.
have hunt, physical penetration, but we've already determined that you don't have enough physical mitigation. So let us do.
What are you doing,
Where's our
Steven?
Tiger. And let us apply Mark of the Bear on you while we're casting 3. So it's going to be 3 shift 4, and then you said lightning reload and 3 twice more.
Yes.
Should I
Once
start
more.
with snipe first?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, so snipe to 3 while doing Mark of the Bear. All right, let's try
Yeah.
that.
I'm
So-
getting some heals, Strad.
Really?
Free heal, free heal. We need more heals.
Oh, but you know what? I did that with the cooldown set to
Yeah.
nothing. Oh no, hold on. Let me set that back to 1. Okay, so this is the normal cooldown frequency. Okay. Oh,
Not representative of real gameplay.
correct. Yes. All right, let's try that again. I'm gonna do the Mark of the Bear. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, very cool. Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, it feels pretty
That was
crisp,
pretty
and
good.
yeah, if Keenan was below half health there, he would have taken. I mean, he might have died.
Oh my god.
Not with me as his healer.
I know. You're too good.
All right, let me set cooldowns back. Let me max my mana. Okay, we've showed off
Okay.
lightning reload. Next up, I have bear trap. Talk to me a little bit about bear trap.
Yes, bear trap. So we went through a couple
That
iterations
works.
on this. We wanted a very solid trap ability. It's right in the name. But often in games they're either too small, they activate too short, they're just not, or they don't last long enough. There's lots of ways for a trap to suck. And we think we got bear trap in a decent spot where it's pretty usable. You can pre-place them on the ground. They last for, I believe, 30 seconds after you place them. So it's a
Got
very
'em.
strategic ability, allowing for zone control. You can place these in between you and a hostile target and kite them into it. You can make like a little trap wall in front of you so that if people are closing on you, or rather you're setting up a gank and you want to set that up beforehand, so whenever there's a counterattack, you're already prepared for it.
Very cool.
It
I like
definitely
that.
benefits that strategically minded player.
Very nice. That looks that feels great. Can I hit my own bear trap? No, I'm just kidding.
No, thankfully.
I hope not.
But if I did, I'd have Call of the Wild.
Yes.
Talk
Maybe
to me about
we
Call
should
of the
just show that
Wild.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a stun break.
What does Call of the Wild do?
It is a CC break and a movement buff. So if you get hit with a nasty stun or something, you can just break out of it and run away.
Perfect. Stun break.
Ooh, that was cool. I love the effects. That looked awesome.
Yeah, do it again, Steven.
Okay, let's try that one more time. So I'm running along. Give me a stun.
I gotta wait for the cooldown. Try it with the
okay.
trap or something.
Alright. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, but the ranger is a fairly fragile class overall, so if they get a stun on them and it doesn't get cleansed, then
Here, I'll do it again.
Alright, here
they'd
we
be
go.
very nasty.
Ooh,
I do like that visual. That is
good,
nice.
great.
Yeah,
I
all
just
of our
hope there's not
archetypes
too many
have
visuals in the
their
game.
own
It
versions
destroys
of CC
computers.
just because that is one of the things where players want answers to those kinds of situations, and that'll be part of your spec choice, right? Is like how much do you want to build into your ability to resist and break CC versus just be like a raw glass cannon, and accepting those risks. That all factors into like the decision making when it comes to specs.
Yeah, one of the pillars that we're trying to build combat on top of is giving players the true feeling of agency, like they're really in control of their character and what
My
happens.
son
to
should
their
be home
character rather
shortly.
than just watching stuff.
Got
happen.
early into school
No
today.
impact on.
An hour early, actually.
Oh, it feels so good. Keenan, come over here. Let me try this next ability, Raining Death. Love the name of that, by the way. Feels like a perfect like band name for a heavy metal group.
Yeah, like a Slayer song.
I know. All right, very
Yes.
cool.
So Raining Death is also using a caster side targeting decal. So again, only the caster is seeing that.
But it looks
targeting
only far
decal.
away.
And that allows them to line it up a little bit better and make sure they're hitting the target.
Yeah, see, there's only a distance of it. It's not like
a.
a.
Is we are making the spread of
close stand.
projectiles a little more
Maybe.
even and dense. So
I'm not sure now.
as you notice, there's some spots in the decal that don't look like they're getting hit. They are actually getting hit because of this homing arrow tech. There's actually a hitbox that's being drawn there, and every target within that hitbox is getting a homing arrow fired at it. Actually, 2 homing arrows fired at it.
Okay.
So it is hitting stuff, even though it might not look like it right now. We're gonna improve that a little bit more. And Scattershot has a little bit of the same thing going on, where the spread's not really perfect, but yeah, that's currently in progress with our VFX artist to make it a little bit better.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's a good representation of like where we've been trying to find a balance between making these abilities feel organic and not super like templated to use, but at the same time, at the end of the day, like gameplay is the name of the game, and we want these things to be reliable and consistent, both from the users and well,
Oh my
look
God.
at that! You're taking advantage of the fact that I'm talking.
I like to wait for a second and he murders this guy.
He just turned
I
into
should have
ash.
expected that from you.
He just turned into ash.
It's okay, I rezzed him.
Oh,
You
that
gotta
was
rest.
so good. That was so good. That was little ash
I
loot piles
forgot
on the
what I was
ground.
saying.
I forgot
I
what you were
dropped
saying.
some
too.
stuff.
That was a great effect. I think Siva worked on excuse me.
Oh, Steven's died now.
I think Siva worked on that as well as the snipe reauthor as well.
But yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Raining Death is an example where we iterate on these abilities multiple times, and sometimes it requires a complete rebuild. This is, I think, the 3rd complete rebuild of that ability, because the previous versions just weren't good enough for our players. They were more direct fire projectile based, which is pretty cool because you see there's a direct connection between the projectile and dealing damage. But we found a solution where we can simulate the appearance of all the projectiles hitting, and then we can also have a homing volume underneath that. So it's very
Smart.
reliable while also looking super.
Out of mana, sorry, Keenan.
Oh no, Keenan!
Oh,
Oh, he's corrupted. Look at that.
Oh, did
Oh,
I turn
man.
corrupt?
Oh, I gotta take advantage of it.
Oh no. No. Wait a minute. I have
Get
no
up.
cooldown.
You pissed off the cleric.
How did I go corrupt?
By killing an innocent player.
yeah, obviously, Steven, you murdered somebody.
Nice.
Oh, we did it! Okay, wait.
close one.
Don't kill me.
Kill
Bring
him.
it back to what I was doing. All right, sorry. So,
See, Steven's a good player, guys.
yay! How dare you? Just because I show at a lower APM so everyone can see the fidelity of the effects and the gameplay
Hey,
around the environment
Sculpt002,
and
thanks for the
NPCs.
follow on Twitch. I greatly
Doesn't mean
appreciate
I don't
it.
have a little bit of what is it called? Juice?
We'll just call it a dark side.
What is it called? The juice box? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we
Juice
showed off a
box?
little
What
bit
is
of
he
the,
talking about?
The bear claw. I mean the bear trap. The
Well,
Call
the
of
giant
Wild,
bear
the
claw goes,
lightning reel,
delicious.
and thundering shot. We talked about the marks and the different hunts that exist. We have disengage to show.
Yes.
Let's talk about
Disengage. Whenever you only have the ability, and you haven't unlocked any of the passives involved with disengage, it'll shoot you right back whenever you press it. So it's really good for creating space between you and some targets that are charging at you. You can just hit disengage and you'll flip back.
That's cool.
Let me try that now. Go.
And yeah, like Steven's demonstrating, you can also use it for traversal.
Oh man, that's gonna be great.
Something that we learned with disengage though is people have different preferences for how they want this ability to activate. There's some people who've played a lot of Ranger who are just like, you know what, I don't want to have to spin my camera around to press disengage, and to be able to go forward. I just want it to go forward when I press the button. So we made this omnidirectional disengage option,
And
which
it's
costs
zero
0
cost.
skill points.
Yeah, that's awesome. But in the future,
So-
that'll be a kind of an ability option that you can choose, right? Not
Oh.
necessarily through a passive effect.
Right.
That's the intent.
Correct.
Yes, that is the intent. We still need to do some work on how we're gonna like display that to the player to make sure it's as apparent as a spec option, right? Because that's very apparent that you have that choice. And it can often be lame in games whenever how to min max is all in the options menu. But we're gonna make sure that that's nice and clean for our players, and it's very apparent the options that they have available to them. But yeah, whenever you
Okay.
have the omnidirectional option engaged, now whenever you're pressing a movement key, disengage will send you in that direction instead of straight back.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, and then last but not least, and then we'll go up to the to the environment and just kind of play together a little bit, is the imbue ammo. Talk to me about imbue ammo.
Yeah, tell me more.
Yep, so imbue ammo, whenever you cast it, it'll imbue your next, currently they're set up to imbue your next 10 shots, and this will probably go through another iteration, but currently it imbues your next 10 shots with a special effect. So we've got weighted ammo, concussive ammo, and barbed ammo right now. We're probably going to add more in the future. These are ammo imbues, so you're imbuing your next 10 shots with this effect. Weighted ammunition is a snaring effect, barbed is a bleed effect, and concussive is a stagger effect. Stagger reduces accuracy and evasion,
Nice. Okay.
and it
Keenan.
also increases trip duration. So
Very
go ahead.
cool. Keenan, try just kind of running down this path and let me do some weighted shots.
Another element of detail
That really slows you.
I really like that you were down for going for, Steven, was it actually changing the appearance of the ammunition whenever you're firing it.
Yes, absolutely.
So when you load up weighted shot, it will actually swap your bullets that you're firing, not bullets, your arrows that you're firing to look
Bullets.
the part. And it swaps, currently it swaps over both basic attacks and barrage.
Nice.
Hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah, if you want to cast your ammo and then cast barrage, you can show that off.
Let's do it. Let me do probably. Let's do weighted as you're running again. Let's try that. That's so cool. Very cool.
I like that a
All right, let me
lot. That's
set
a
my
nice.
cooldowns to
nice
something
little
that's
detail.
representative of real gameplay. Although I have far more abilities than I should at level 7, but that's okay. And I will join your party now. Oh no.
If we can even invite you.
No, you can. You can.
Oh,
I'm only
nice, okay.
corrupted. I mean, I'm not like a monster. Come on.
It's true, true.
Now you might, however, flag when you heal me, but you know that's okay.
We'll see.
What do we got over here? Oh, I love that. That's awesome. My
AoE.
Oh,
There you
nice.
go.
The the snipe followed the target. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, there's a little bit of aim offset there in animation that we did.
Yeah, that looks great.
Quite a few of the bow abilities do it actually. It's just a lot more obvious with snipe.
Yeah, headshot's another one. As long as it's within a certain angle, it will try to maintain tracking of the target.
There you go.
And yeah, the
Oh,
way that we
to the
pull
other
that
one,
off,
Steven.
it's not like affecting your control rotation at all. It's just an appearance thing.
What's that yellow one called? I already forgot.
Oh, it feels good. Feels very good.
There it is.
Yeah, it did not feel this good a while ago. I really want to give credit to our playtesting process. This was in a much rougher state a couple months ago.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we get in the game. We play test it the same way that the players will be play testing it to make sure that it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. I think one of the great things that your team has done is you've really defined your iterative loop.
Hmm.
Right? And obviously the most important aspect of that loop is going to be the playtesting aspect, which you guys playtest. I mean, I think every day, right? With NPC team and the world team, in helping to define, obviously not just the player character and the abilities you guys are authoring, but also the playable space and the playable enemies that you're encountering as part of this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to note even when we're not in official playtests, like when we're building these things, we make it a key point to be playing the stuff as we're building it. Like the designers aren't just making stuff on paper and handing it off. Like we're in the tools, we're building these things, and we're in a game environment. And it's, I think, part of the reason that
I
these
like how
things,
they did the stream and how they broke it
come together
down
so nicely is
with all the
we can,
details and
build
stuff.
them in real
Oh,
time
spider.
and play them in real time as we do so.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought they were
Well,
going to do
guys.
PvP.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm just
Gotcha.
taking in the view a little bit over here because it is a beautiful view.
It is definitely beautiful. And I love all the verticality on our maps, but it has definitely forced us to make abilities in a better way. If we just had flat arenas like every other game, it would be way easier to make all this stuff. But that's why we were forced to make the cool homing hitbox tech that both Scattershot and Raining Death are using, because we're playtesting in the environment, we're figuring out what works or what doesn't, and then we're adjusting.
Well,
and
yeah, but
building
this
new
game, you've
stuff
got to assume that there's going to be PvP literally anywhere. So you have, or combat anywhere. So you have to
Oh, it feels
plan
so good.
accordingly.
Love the combat with this Ranger. And obviously, we have a big showcase next month with regards to PvP.
Oh, that's
in a
next
more
one.
raid format. And you guys are going to be seeing some changes that are done to the mage effects as well, yeah? I think Scott's
yeah.
working on that now. Oh my god.
Scott and Siva, I believe, are both working on the mage.
Perfect,
next,
Steven. He
that'll
knows what
be
he's
very exciting
doing.
to see that get another pass, because man, the mage can really throw down the particle effects.
Absolutely. Wow, that was a big pull, actually.
Shredded.
Excuse me.
I love this area. And the mixture of creatures here is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I actually like the Raven has gone through a bunch of iterations, but I do like the current iteration of it. It could be a little bit more deadly, but I think it's fulfilling its role of like that popcorn mob. It's super annoying, but you can kill it really fast if you
Popcorn
focus
mob.
it down. Then it won't give you as many issues.
Oh man, you just one shot
I
that thing.
just one-shot that Raven.
Damn.
By the way, Steven, isn't that shard over there like kind of lore relevant?
Which one? Oh, good call. Yeah, we should talk a little bit about this zone. So this is a small point of interest within the Riverlands area. Obviously, we're in the Riverlands. It is winter. And this particular location, called the Gem Spring, is a remnant, a shard remnant of one of the Harbingers that broke off and actually has begun some interesting interaction with Essence within this area. So those of you guys who are going to be participating in Alpha 2, this will be a location where you're going to have some related quests, and this gives you an idea about Gem Springs.
Hmm.
Oh, we're here, Gem Spring.
Interesting.
What do you say? Should we just do like a massive AoE?
Oh gosh. All right.
Do you want
Do
to
it.
pull him?
Yeah.
Steven, jump in. Jump in the spring, Steven,
Get
please.
it all. Get
Keep
it
them
all.
in chains though. I got an AoE down. Pull him back in.
Get as many as you can.
Oh my god.
Yeah, big chungus pull.
I'm gonna go all the way around.
Oh, Steven's just murdering these.
Oh.
Okay,
God.
here they come.
Okay. Where you at? Where you at?
They're right here. Oh, they leashed.
Do your AoE for the love of God, Steven.
Okay, we got some of them.
Oh, guys ran away.
That wasn't bad. That wasn't too bad.
Fortunately, these guys are just kind of slow.
Little mycelium. Let's take a look at their.
Huh? Not the ravens though.
Ooh, the ravens are quick. Ooh.
God,
Push it
not
out of the
bad.
way.
Goddamn mushroom tops. Nice. You know, I may never play a ranger. Thinking about it now with like the classes I want to
Woo!
play.
That was awesome.
Depends on how many
Cleaned up
alts I
this
get and
place.
stuff, but still, like,
That was very cool.
And I really need to
I
get some
don't
better
know.
gear. My damage is terrible.
I wonder if there is something for us to discover up at the top. Should we go check it out?
where? Where are you going? Steven, why are you're getting distracted?
These poor spiders.
I think that's a boss.
Wait, that's a named mob.
Oh no!
Oh no! I knew
Oh
it.
no! Is it really?
Yeah. That's got like
Okay.
2.5k health.
All right.
It's just a bigger spider.
Wait a
It's
minute.
like 3 times the normal spiders.
Let's see.
Tried it, Steven. There you go.
No. It is. It has a lot of hit points here.
It really does.
I need a tank.
Kill another.
I'm trying. My damage is just so bad.
I'm gonna get some
Oh man, I thought I was gonna punch him.
need for it.
Oh, there he goes. Oh, I think we leashed him.
Oh no. Kill him
Oh,
quick.
No, kill him.
Kill him, kill him, kill him.
Kill him.
Snare him.
Oh! Oh no!
Wow, that's a classic moment right there.
All right, let's take him down.
That is pretty
Come on.
funny, actually.
All right, all deeps.
Hey, buddy. Pretty sure I heard the door open.
Come on now. Switch to this one.
I mean, he doesn't hit that hard, so.
He's just tickling.
Got him! We did it.
Yay.
We have done it. We have done the thing. Look at this view. Good God, man. It looks so good. How do we climb up here? Where are you going?
I'm just getting a better view.
Where's he going?
Hold on. Oh,
This is nice.
yeah, this is the Carfins in the distance.
It's a familiar point of interest.
It looks beautiful. Holy
Something over
smokes.
here.
Where?
Over yonder, around the rock.
If it's a giant sandal, I swear to God.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, it's a Christmas tree.
What is that?
Steven
Little
doesn't
Sandy
make this.
surprise left to us from our
That's
lovely
kinda-
environment artist.
Oh, there we
It
go.
probably belongs to
Oh.
that spider back there.
No, we found its nest. Its
Yeah,
sandal
forgot.
nest. We killed it, and it had a
It
sandal
is a
nest
sandal.
in adoration to the sandal wisdom.
Oh, the tree's a sandal. I didn't even pay attention. I saw the sandal underneath.
Tested in the environment
Oh
too.
my
It's
God.
done an awesome job here. Some of these, I've never seen the sandal tree before. That's new. That's different. I wonder if the wind speed affects it. I see the sandal.
It does.
So that's-
Yeah, it does.
That's so good.
that's funny.
That is so awesome. Oh, is there like a little jump puzzle? Can you get up there?
You can. I don't know if you can get on the big tree.
That looks awesome. Well, guys, thank you for joining me and showcasing all the hard work that you and the many members of the team have devoted to obviously
Steven just
upgrading
jumped
our
down.
basic weapon attacks, the range.
Let's see how that fall
weapons,
damage
the,
does.
Ranger archetype. The zone is beautiful. The monsters are cool. Everything is shaping up very nicely as a great showcase for the end of the year. And guys, you're watching out there in the community. Obviously, we do these so that we can get your feedback. Oh no! Okay, we did it. So we can get your feedback
Oh, I thought he was gonna die.
on things that you saw today. What did you think looked great? What things would you change? Look at that beautiful creek down there. My God.
My God.
Winter Wonderland.
Hey, buddy.
So please make sure to participate in our forums.
Are you
all
home?
the social media, YouTube,
Okay.
everything. Talk to us about what
I
you
can
learned
barely
today,
hear him upstairs.
and how you
I'm
like the direction
home.
of the archetypes and the classes, the combat, how everything is going. I know it means a lot to Brian, Trad, Keenan, everybody else on the combat team, for you guys to give your feedback. Trad, Brian, Keenan, thank you for joining me and showcasing
What's
all your guys' hard
this?
work. This was great.
Go away.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Guys, we'll see you back on stream to close out 2020.
Thought I just deleted.
Bye, everybody.
God damn it.
Cheers.
Margaret's there typing.
Welcome back, everybody. It seems like y'all really enjoyed it. So while we are answering your questions, Steven's got that glare going. He does really love when the sunbeams
Oh,
come in.
I'm sorry. Maybe I can fix that.
It's
Wait
those giant
for it.
windows you have.
How about now?
Now it's ruined your composition. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Of course.
It's good enough, Steven. Don't worry about it.
We love seeing all. Oh, sorry about the title here. We love seeing all of the wonderful comments in chat. You
Yes.
all were very, very happy. So that makes us really happy. Our combat team has been killing it, and I know that
Yes,
some of
they
them were very
have.
nervous.
Well, it's always a nervous thing to share your passion and your, the work that the team has been putting into this, right? We're doing this because we want to hit a bar that
A
is
bar?
acceptable and will make our community
What do you mean a
proud and make
bar?
us proud, right? As developers, is the reason we do this is because we want to make people happy in their choice of entertainment, and we're all MMO gamers. But it's been very validating and positive to see you guys give us the response that, hey, you're going in the right direction, right? It may not be final, it may not be fully polished. There's still outstanding
Oh,
work to do,
lots of work to
obviously,
do.
right? But like, hey, each showcase after each showcase is an improvement, is a positive direction that we get to yield from the feedback that you guys give us. Because as this is playing, Margaret and I are like watching the chat. We're collecting the questions. We're evaluating what the commentary is. And a lot of the stuff you guys say, it's like, hey, this is already planned. That's great. That's perfect. We're validating our approach. It's a very positive interaction. It's one that I'm glad to see has been adopted a bit more so over the recent years in the industry for game development as a whole, which is to engage with the community at an earlier phase. And this is the produce of that interaction, right? This is what comes from that. And so we're very happy to share it with you, and we're glad
And
to see your guys' response to it.
We're also really thankful. There's been a lot of content creators who have been rating us today or watching simultaneously. So this is for you guys. Thank you all. We really appreciate it. I know in the moment we don't always have time
I'm
to
touched.
divert and say thank you there. We are trying to power through to ensure that we don't take up people's time too much.
I was
Go ahead.
on Asmongold's stream Asmongold's stream
Asmongold?
watching their community over there and their commentary, and it seemed very positive as well. I loved it. It was great to see a broader audience than just our golden cohort here on the stream.
He's killing me.
Positive reception. It was very, very good to see.
Yeah. Of course, like Steven said, Vagnar and Roshan have been collecting questions as well as we've been adding some. So we're going to try to get through some of them. We won't get through a ton of questions because we'll be here all day if we answer everything, but we'll try to power through as many as we can. I do want to reiterate at the beginning, Steven did mention that he didn't have the cooldowns active. So they
Yep.
show the abilities more frequently.
You know what? I'll give it to Steven.
Again,
This was much better than what he's done in combat
what kind
previews
of
before.
abilities will Rangers have? Because that's something that we didn't really.
I think this is really good.
For sure. And before I get to the utility question, I just want to say, as you guys watch these demonstrations, particularly prior to our Alpha 2 and even during Alpha 2, like balance is not something we really dive into at all during this phase, right?
No.
We obviously do a finger in the wind pass on balance, but balance.
So is that why the tank was like a wet noodle?
Logging and data from playtesting that
Seems
is
real
the
weak.
goal of Alpha 2. But if you see things like cooldowns, like damage numbers, those things are very subject to change. They're very
with
easy.
classes and things like that. Or
Absolutely.
And it's very easy to tune those things. So just keep that in mind as we move into Alpha 2.
The difference
Is it
between
though?
data and
Because I've seen a lot of video
creating
games that
a
just
whole
cannot,
application or a whole,
cannot
VFX
cut
and stuff like that. They're
with
just trying to get the look and
balance.
feel down, and
You
then
ever look
the
at Star
data
Wars
side of it
Galaxies? They've
is
never had a
still
balance
For
game,
sure.
and then
and you'll be seeing a lot of
ooh,
those
now I got the
created
hiccups.
at
And their
back
entire
ends, but we're
lifespan
really polishing and
Absolutely.
really
of that game.
fixing bugs and making sure that we're in a state where we're like, hey,
I
now
played
we're
that game for
balanced.
5 years,
And we'll
6
make
years
that clear to
straight.
you all, like, hey, we want balance feedback. Right now, we're not
It was
asking for that.
embarrassing playing that game with the
Absolutely.
balance
Some of
sometimes.
the utility skills that we
Especially
think
when
about,
my class was the one
when
that
we
was
design
getting
the
beat on,
archetypes,
which was
you know,
almost
are how
always.
they counter and react to other archetypes. So, for example, you know, a ranger is we think about that class fantasy of perception, right? A ranger's kind of in the outskirts. They're keeping their range. They're watching what's happening, and they have good perception. So when we think about utilities, some of the examples of those utilities might be a rogue has invisibility. How do you address invisibility?
Better not be
Well, a
invincibility.
ranger might have a utility ability that spawns a hound that trails invisible targets within an AoE radius of the ranger, and
I
you
like
get
that.
that location. Whereas a mage might have an arcane eye that actually reveals them to the party or the raid. Like those are the types of utility skills that we want to create. They offer counters and horizontal progression against the other archetype abilities that give them
Okay.
certain types of benefits. And that's how you create that rock paper scissors type of interaction between the classes, so that there's not, you know, there's always going to be a meta, but you chip away at the relevancy of that meta when metas are highly situational, and utility spells are the responses to situational interactions.
What about, I think in the past we had shown like where rangers could track people.
Yeah,
with
this
tracks
would
and
be a
stuff
form
like
of that.
Alpha
tracking.
2 release
Absolutely.
date.
Yep.
Are they
The
saying
next
when
one
is?
was
They're supposed to say the quarter
marks.
in this stream.
Right now, marks
So,
are
like,
not
quarter one,
intended
two,
to
or
be
three.
stacked. Right now, marks will
So we should be
marks
here
will this is still the
soon.
case. Marks will override the previously applied mark, and the benefit of that is like
By the end,
we're
you
not
should say it.
outscaling the mark efficacy too much by allowing them to stack. It gives us more power to place on each individual mark when we know that they'll be replaced if you
What
use
kind
them.
of
So they're
sneeze
very,
was that?
they're very unique to kind of the
Sort of
situation that
demon
they spawn
sneeze?
for, but you can quickly kind of swap between them.
The next one is tank has resolve, cleric has divine power. What does ranger have?
That's a very good question. It is the interaction between the hunts and the marks. That is something that we're going to be focusing in on a little bit more. Right now, that is still something that the combat team is working on for the ranger class.
And then we have, would one of the skill tree selections allow for a targeting reticle to be used?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there was a slight bug with the action camera mode for this particular display, and we didn't have time to fix it in time.
Brian was using
But
action whenever he was doing a practice
I
runs
know,
a lot.
I know,
so.
and I tried using action in the first attempt at this recording, and it bugged out for us, and we didn't have time to fix it, so we went ahead without that. But to answer your question,
Fair enough.
will these abilities? The question was, will these abilities work with action camera? Is that the question?
Yeah. No. It's would one of the skill tree selections allow for a targeting reticle to be used?
So targeting reticle is applied when you swap to the action camera mode.
Yep.
So that wouldn't be a part of the skill tree selection. It would just be an option that you can switch to by pressing Z currently. That uses a soft lock system for the targeting reticle.
I think the follow up here would be, especially for folks who really like ranged stuff, is being able to customize your reticle.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. From a UI perspective, just customizing
Steve,
the reticle
how?
shape. Absolutely. There will be a number of different reticle types that you can use.
Get on it.
Good.
And Co. No,
They already have a few.
I'm
Actually,
just
they
messing.
yeah.
Next up, we've got, what's the counterplay that a melee archetype has against a ranger? How can you avoid being
Sure.
killed by the targeted shots?
Yeah, it depends on the melee, right? If we're talking about fighter, they're going to have a lot of heavy gap closers. They can probably be a little bit more liberal in the use of their gap closers because they have so many of them, versus, let's say, a ranger that needs to choose when to use their escape abilities because they have fewer of
Fair
them.
enough.
The same would be true for a melee character like a rogue. Their approach vector is going to be more stealth driven than it would be perhaps, let's say, from a gap closer perspective. So they're going to stealth into position, and then that's where you're tracking your ability use for your getaway abilities.
And then is there
And then
go
real
ahead.
quick, the other thing
Go
is
ahead.
lockdowns as well, right? Melee users are likely going to have a number of different CCs to choose from, whether that be slowing the target, rooting the target, stunning the target, and then those allow them to get off their combos.
Since
And let me
rangers
ask you
can
just kind
track
of
things,
one.
will
So
this
what you
help with
saw
animal
from
husbandry?
the reason why
That's a good question. I don't know.
unlimited was because he didn't have.
I'm sure it's
but
going to
a
have, you
cool
can
combo.
have some
So
sort of
yeah, you
specialty
were
with
able to get
it,
away from one of them, but let's say
or some
you
sort
put
of
another one
bonus.
on
Maybe you
there,
can
then
track
you
down rare spawns of creatures.
Straight out of luck.
That might help.
and
And you might
then
want to be
go
able
ahead.
to.
Is there going to be
Hmm.
spell
I don't know.
pushback
That'd be an interesting
when
one.
being hit? And if so, will the fast shooting short bow punish cast bar more? So if you're shooting really
yeah,
fast, will it push back casters?
no, there is not just a
Hmm.
native pushback that exists for ranged attacks. Some attacks do have pushback effects, and also casters can experience a delay in their cast time due to concentration failures. So concentration is a stat that's associated with one of our primary attributes being um, uh, uh, a derivative waterfall for concentration checks. When concentration fails due to damage that's done,
Really,
it is going to
concentration
increase that
fail.
casting time slightly. It won't interrupt it completely, but
That's
it will
interesting.
increase the casting time. But pushback is
I've
not
never
a
seen
native
that
thing
done
that
well in a
lives on
game.
any particular type of attack. It is something that is accompanying a specific ability.
All right. And then why did you move away from arrows being projectiles?
Arrows are still projectiles.
I'm not sure where
So-
that's from that.
Arrows are, I think, maybe what they're referring to.
He did say you like say a
is
rogue
on
is
the
stealth.
action side.
There
So
might be
when
ability
we refer
or
to
a companion, a
projectiles, we're
ranger
talking about
could
hit
have that
spark
would
burst
like
projectiles.
sniff
We're
out
still
an
using
invisible player,
projectiles,
which may also
but
work
we're
for.
using a
I've heard.
locking
I
mechanism in that
believe
target
previously they've
for
talked
those
about
projectiles
invisible
to come to the
NPCs and
target,
stuff.
should you have a valid angle in that perspective.
But
The
I
action
don't
side of
know.
that is that you can
Not
blind
necessarily
fire
anything further.
projectiles, and should a target move within the line of attack that the projectile is moving in, a great example of this is the orb ball that is lightning, which is kind of moving forward. You don't necessarily have to have a target to aim that at. You just move that slowly as it moves through the path. If another target moves and you're leading that target, it will strike the target. So we have blind fire currently. We're still going to be doing some touching up with the action combat side prior to Alpha 2. Right now, when you have your reticle over a target, it has a soft lock on the target, and you can, rapidly move between that in action mode with the reticle if you wish.
And then I think kind of a follow up to this is if I'm a tank and I get in the way of a shot of a ranger,
Yes.
I might.
It'll-
Okay, cool. So you are able
Yeah.
to like kind of block.
And there are
the-
certain
yeah.
and there are certain battlefield abilities that you can use. You won't be able to just body block it, right? Not all projectiles can be body blocks. Some potentially can, but there will be certain abilities and effects like a shield wall that can be brought up, and that will obscure line of sight to the target as well, and it will restrict some of those attacks from occurring.
Fabulous. Our next one here is if I use wands or swords as a ranger, am I locked out of half of my kit because of the ranged abilities that are connected to a short bow or a long bow?
So right now we are still kind of approaching how we want the character paper doll between ranged weapons, bows or otherwise, to exist. Our thought process is currently
Can I interject
that
one thing?
yes, absolutely.
There's a lot
yes.
of new people who are with us. And so
Yeah.
people are like, Rangers can't use wands. The way that we have been building our product is that anybody can use any weapon, any armor. You may
Yes.
not always be
And-
viable in every situation, but that is the case. And then go ahead, Stephen. I just wanted
Correct.
to
And
just saw
and
the
just
chat.
for
So
those of you who are new, last month we did do a little showcase on crafting, which talks a little bit about itemization and how you can
Yeah,
do
she'll
certain
watch that.
recipes and material uses augment the types of stats that live on certain itemizations to be relevant across all the different archetypes, right? So there is a bit of choice when it comes to players that craft these items on whether or not they want to have physical damage values versus magical damage values, and that leads to a very competitive, healthy open market,
Okay.
which is something that is integral to Ashes of Creation. But as it relates to rangers being able to use certain abilities with bows equipped, some abilities will require bows to be equipped, and those abilities
Yeah, Chutoy,
can be
I do
used
worry
with a
about
bow
what
and
their
without bows.
eventual
For those of you who are
invisible
newer to
aspect
how
is.
we
I,
have
I
our
think the
classes
footprints will
set up is that
always
we have a
show,
primary archetype and a secondary archetype.
but
And that
the thing
secondary
is,
archetype can really dive into other things like maybe your
I
ranger,
thought
but
once
your
upon a time
summoner
Steven said
secondary,
you
or
could
your
still
ranger and
sort
your
of see
mage
the people
secondary,
if they
and that
were,
might be more
excuse me,
valuable for carrying a
invisible.
wand versus having
Right.
It
a
would
bow.
you
So
could
I'm just
see
trying to
like
give
some
the
sort of
perspective
weird
in
like
mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of
outline or whatever
customization
of the.
options, right? Your primary
So if you were
archetype is
really
the
paying
delivery
attention, you could
vehicle
see
for
them,
your active
if I
abilities.
remember right.
Your
But that was a
secondary
long time
archetype
ago.
augments those active abilities into something else, but doesn't give you new active
Now, if
abilities.
it's a
Right?
true
And that's something
invisible,
Kind of
very
creates your
important to
like
keep
they're
in
just
mind.
gone,
Correct.
that's fine with me actually.
And then people did see this in there, but I think reiterating to make it clear, they were wondering, can you move while casting all of the ranger abilities?
Not all of them. Some of them root the target. For example, snipe is one that does restrict your ability to move. But the vast majority, yes, you can move. Now, there is a slight movement penalty that's applied for a lot of those abilities, the ones that can
Makes
move.
sense. I would agree.
But for the most part, yes, this is a very mobile archetype approach.
And of
That's
course,
cool.
you know, the locking down of making you not be able to move while you're casting certain abilities is a balancing factor, right? So that's something that the development and design team can work on to
Yes,
be like,
it was
oh,
like
okay,
Predator.
this
I
is
know
really
exactly what
powerful,
you're
so
talking
maybe
about.
it isn't something you can do while you're moving. So kind of keeping that in mind. They'll balance it to make sure that it makes sense for the type of ability and kind of what
It depends on how
its effects are.
beefy.
For sure.
When
So,
I say beefy,
just
how
to,
much of a
just to
how should I say
dial
this?
in a little
How
bit
much of a
there,
glass cannon they
abilities
make the
are
rope?
vehicles for
If
conferring
it's an
effects onto
amazing
a
glass
target, right?
cannon,
And
then the invisibility effect
as you were
should be
describing, balance-wise,
more
there's a
true,
number of different
100%
interactions
invisible.
mechanically that you
If
have
they
within an
have a little
ability that you can adjust
survivability,
in order to balance its power.
I don't know. I think in
The
that way,
most
then they should be
common
able to be
ones
seen a
are
little easier.
cooldown, mana consumption, damage done, effect
Maybe
status
there's like a
conferred,
distance between you and the
information
player,
effect status, range.
the rogue that's invisible.
Those are the kind
So
of
if they're 10 meters
primary
away,
methods
10
by
to 10 to
which
0
you
meters, you can
adjust.
maybe see them.
Correct.
10
Yes,
or 11
that's
and
correct.
further,
There's a lot
they're
of
just
different.
gone.
There's
Might
a lot
be
of
something
there's a lot of different
to
things that
do.
play into that, but those are the primary mechanical constructs of a particular ability, right? And so, for example, we were talking about airstrike, how it confers a lot of different effects onto a target, being that it does damage, being that it's used for mobility, being that it also applies a CC effect. And so, in order to balance that, not talking about specific numbers that it does, or the length of the CC effect, or the opposed stat check for that particular CC effect, and the mana consumption, it's also the cooldown. It's a very
That's
big
true.
ability with a
I
large
mean,
cooldown effect, so you want to
with how
use it
dark this
and
game is
manage your
getting
resources.
visibly
And those
at
of you that are MMO
night,
players, you know all this. You want to
I
manage
mean,
your
some elements
resources
seem like it's really dark out. Sometimes it seems like the moon's totally
We're already
lit.
talking about balancing and maybe more specifically towards ranger.
You
I
could
think
really
that
be
generally
invisible
the overwhelming
and still have
everyone
that
was really
predator
excited
effect.
for the ranger. They
Sure.
loved seeing it. They thought it was cool. But there was definitely a mix of what people felt was not balanced. So I don't know if you can go. We already discussed that we're not in the balancing phase right now, but perhaps you can talk a little bit about what our balancing process is for archetypes as an overall.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
our theory, our
when
design
we
theory.
move into the balance phase, right? I just talked about the primary components that we use in order to get that initial balance pass. But when we move into Alpha 2 and we have a lot of data that's kind of supporting the use of these particular abilities in combat settings, how often they're used, how often they result in death, what the average damage done by this archetype is comparatively to other damage done by different archetypes. All of that data gets logged, right? And all of that data gets queried in order for us to refine the abilities so that they live in the environment we want them to. Now, that's not to mean that we're going to have, perfect balance across the board between the archetypes. Again, we're taking a rock, paper, scissor approach to balance, which means that some archetypes will do better against other archetypes and vice versa. And we're also not creating an environment where we want to have 1v1 balance. We are focused around group balance, group composition. Group composition is important, right? We're not creating a highly competitive game that might be a Valorant or a League of Legends, right? This is an MMORPG, which means that there are going to be certain classes that perform better than other classes in certain situations, and that's part of the grand strategy, right? That is something we want people to think about compositionally when they arrange their groups and their raids for the particular content that they're facing. Now, we have not done a balance pass yet, right? And we haven't used the metrics we need in order
We
to
won't be doing a
create
balance pass
that
for like another
acceptable
year.
balance for hitting the target we want to hit for these
That's
particular
right.
archetypes. So when you're looking at this, you should be looking at it with the lens of, does this look fun? Does this look like
Lens of
something
what?
I want to play? Not, is that damage number too high? Is that attack speed too high? Is that cooldown too low?
I think it's too
that
high.
is something that we will address, but not now.
And later,
And
we
when we do
will
address
be
it, we will get that
asking you.
feedback.
Yeah.
Correct, exactly. Yes. When we do have people playtesting and involved in the alphas 2 and betas, that is when we will ask those questions and accompany it with data.
Exactly. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, reminder that, like Steven said, as you're watching this, as you're looking at it, really think about the look and feel. Think about the things that you liked, the things that you don't like, things that you'd like to see that the Ranger might have in the future. And head on over to our forums and give us some feedback over there. I believe Vacner already has the.
I mean, until I play it, I don't.
So please,
I can't give any good
input
feedback.
if you have thoughts, if you're a
In
Ranger
all
lover,
honesty.
or if you fight Rangers often in PvP and you have thoughts in regards to that, go over there. And
If I wreck Rangers in
we can
PvP, you're
combine
saying,
that and
ma'am?
that over to the devs in the new year. So please, please, please head on over there. We would love for your feedback. Our team is very adamant about reviewing feedback and looking over it and making sure that we're all headed in the right direction. But definitely from looking at the chat, I think everybody is really enjoying it. So that's a good feeling. There's lots of good vibes going on in chat in our internal Slack right now.
Yeah, one thing I want to say is that, look, this isn't the let me say it like this. From a while ago, we have known that we needed to improve our approach on combat. And if you think about what we just talked
They
about,
will want
those
pet.
testing scenarios and the information we need to improve combat and balance, that was true in Alpha 1.
And they got us back into,
And we
was
got
it
a lot of
Beastmaster,
great
whatever that
feedback
other
from
class
Alpha
is.
1. And it
Necromancer,
was that feedback that
Source,
has
whatever it
led
is, cast.
us to this approach you see now as the
Summoner.
result of that
That's the
feedback
word.
and our
I was
hard
going to
work,
get to it eventually.
particularly on the combat team,
Spec
iterating
Summoner
over time
Ranger
to
or something.
improve the combat loop. Now, when we see
It'll
the
probably be
response from the
Ranger,
community initially
then
to this
subclass
combat,
Summoner.
we are seeing, hey,
And then
this
you'll get like a
looks
wolf.
good, right? And so that helps us validate.
Or you'll get
Okay,
a
we
pet
took the
that
feedback
then you put a
from the
cosmetic
testing,
item on.
we changed our approach, we iterated upon it, and now we're delivering something that visually looks compelling to our audience, right? That is a perfect loop of iteration, incorporating the community as part of their responsibility to provide us feedback, because nobody wants to see a game get launched that hasn't had the opportunity to collect feedback from the players. We've seen those games before, right? And that's what this interaction right now, our monthly development update, is intended to safeguard against. And so I just want to give kudos to the combat team because, in my opinion, having played this and watched this and seen the community's response to it, they've done a great job. They have done a great job.
I think they have. I think the abilities are pretty solid.
Prior to Alpha 1 to now having
there isn't really much for them to do for Ranger in this current state.
Combat experience, and
obviously without us playing it and without us seeing all the other classes.
Even just internally, I mean, we don't talk about this all the time, but it kind of goes right into moving into our studio update, which is what we're going to talk about next. You know, we are continually iterating our internal processes, and they've been really finding a good, like you said, rotation in regards to the process internally of how they create abilities and how they create archetypes and weapons and things of that sort. So it is like Brian said in the stream, it is a team effort. You know, there may be one person whose head is on the line for one thing or the other, but
The
in the
single
end,
ringable
Me
net.
too being a year long.
but in the end,
Yes,
everyone has, it's a collaborative effort to make.
After the last two streams, I am
Our
100%
development
in
team
that.
is
It will
full
be
of
at least a year.
wonderful, passionate people, and
At
that goes to
least.
show in our when we're looking at attrition rate over the years. You know,
At least we'll be able to
industry
play.
standard
So,
is like over
you know,
20,
that's
30%,
something.
right? And we're at 2.3% or something like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yes.
So people who come here
We-
really enjoy working here. And you know, sometimes
And-
things change in people's lives and they come and go, and that is pretty normal.
Yes.
But we're
And,
under
and
the
just
standard.
to comment a little bit about that as we go into the studio update, for those of you who are watching who may not be as actively engaged in the development process of Ashes, what I will say is that where we were prior to Alpha 1 and where we are today are two very different positions, right? We are now at over 170 people full-time on the team developers who are creating Ashes.
It's a
of
good
Creation.
studio.
And, you know, we have seen over the course of this last year significant progress from a development perspective for Ashes of Creation. And it's, I mean, as you guys can see through these updates, it is starting to look and feel pretty good. And there is still a long road to go. So what I would say is that
How long,
those of you
Steven?
who are finding it hard to be patient for the game's release, that's understandable, 100%. But we have a very clear objective. We have a very clear goal, and that is to create something special. And you know, the timeline for something special is hard to define. You can't put a time box around finding fun, right? And sometimes when games or publishers try to do that, it doesn't end well. And so we want to make sure, because we have spent the better part of the last 7 years developing Ashes of Creation.
Oh my God, it's been
that
7
we
years.
execute on it well, and that takes some time and it
Can I make
takes
a
some
note
passion.
on that front too? I think people
Yes.
think like, oh, you've been in development for 7 years, but keep in mind the team was very small those first few years. Like if you have 5 or
Absolutely, yeah.
10 people working on your staff, you're not going to be able to accomplish as much as you are with 170.
Oh,
So I just
it's not me this time. My connection's solid.
So
That
I just
is
want to make that
true.
clear that
Well, let's give it a second.
only within the last couple of years have we really grown our team. A lot of
Well,
the previous
yes.
was getting the
Okay, so it
foundations,
wasn't
which
just
was
me.
really
Everybody
good,
said.
you
And to
know.
be fair, that's intentional, right? Like when John and I started this studio, having not
All right.
had a
Ooh, I
background in
think the
gaming,
frames are
and
something's happening.
oh, did mine? Frames
Someone's
die?
had.
Can you hear me okay?
No, you're good. I think it's something
Okay.
to do with Twitch server.
All right. How about now?
It's clearing up. Now we're good.
Okay, good enough.
So
Sorry.
It's a no
Okay,
layoffs
no,
in
it's all
game
right, it's all
dev
good.
companies.
What I
That's
was gonna
good.
say is that
Happens still.
when John and I started this company back in,
Yeah.
in
Oh,
2016, we had just a couple of people on the team. I think Keith was one of our senior character artists, was the first hired, and in 2017, you know, we got up to maybe 20 people. We aren't a Blizzard or a Microsoft or a, you know, a Riot that has hundreds of people and you know, billions of dollars to spend on development, right? This is out of our pockets and out of the pre-order packs that we've done combined are creating this game. And so we built the studio in a very sustainable
And
fashion,
Kickstarter.
right? And exactly, yes, and Kickstarter. We built yes, we built the
Yeah, don't forget
the
Kickstarter.
studio
They'll
in a
get
very
pissed.
sustainable fashion,
Like me.
with a very clear goal and vision that we have stuck to over the years. And
Oh,
you know,
man.
as we're wrapping up 2023 and in December, and we look back on those things, and obviously, you know, break coming up is always a very introspective time. I'm very proud of what this team has accomplished and what the company has grown to become, because we've kept our identity in that time, being very passionate MMORPG gamers, creating something that we've always wanted to see in a game, and one that upholds to this non-pay-to-win philosophy, who believes in the integrity of the player and the community that's participating in Ashes of Creation. So, you know, there is something special there, I think, that is unique about Intrepid, and you guys are seeing that shine through as we give you these development updates.
We understand not everything is going to move super quickly, but we will we will make good on everything that we're doing. So just making sure that
Absolutely.
you have patience with us. I think we've all seen games that have been pushed out quickly, and we're like, wow, they really should have taken more
Also
time.
seen games that
So
never
some
made it
games have a
to
lot more
the
Yeah.
power to push
to the
games
sales
out.
floor.
Yes.
And we are fortunate. Stephen is the only one who can pressure us. So if he's like, get it done, we're like, all right, boss
Hey,
man.
I get pressure. I get pressure. But just to comment on that, what I would say is that you know, shit, I lost my thought there. I'm sorry, I lost my thought.
It's
Yeah,
in
so you
regards to
distracted me on the pressure.
sorry, in regards
He's
to
under
taking
pressure.
our time and making sure that we have quality product.
Yeah, no,
instead of
absolutely. I mean,
pushing it out
that is very
quickly.
true. I know. Here's what I was going to say, is that look, what we are trying to do, which is to create a community-focused feedback loop for our development process, in creating a non-pay-to-win game that champions the integrity of the player. And with the intricate, detailed systems and interconnectivity that Ashes provides in a very sandbox environment where you can actually see, not just hear buzzwords, of the environment reacting to the actions of the players, that should be something that everyone roots for. Everyone in this industry and in the community of MMORPG gamers should be rooting for the success of projects like ours, because
Should
innovation
be.
only occurs when risk takers move forward to achieve something. That is important. And whenever you see a community that comes back and is negative about the outlook or the prospects of a particular project, it's fair to give criticisms. It's fair to talk about things that should change.
It's
We
fair enough,
want
Stephen.
that. That's why
Yes.
we engage with a community. But at the end of the day, we should be rooting for the success of people who dare to take risks, because risks are how things change and how we get a better environment for the MMORPGs that we love.
And I get a lot of messages like, oh, "Are you worried about this or that product?" And it's like, no, there's room for everybody. There's room for a lot of
Yeah,
games. There's lots of people. There's
Everybody.
lots of games. So we
Everybody.
are friends with a lot of the people who make other games. So
absolutely.
I think that from our perspective, it's a community. We are all a community creating games and creating wonderful memories for people and places
Yes.
for people to grow and have their own sub communities. So 100%, we are here for that, and there's no hard feelings in regards to that.
No, not at all.
Anything else you want to talk about in the studio side? I know there's been a lot going on, and obviously this is the end of the year to recap the year. Obviously,
We just yeah. We've been having some great luck on the hiring front. Obviously, my heart goes out to the industry right now. It's a
So
difficult
many
time
layoffs.
within
I
the
can't
gaming
imagine being laid
industry.
off like right before Christmas too. Like, and
It's
having
terrible to
kids.
see, and it literally tears apart my heart to watch some of these very talented developers, through no fault of their own, have to suffer a layoff,
Yeah,
particularly at
there's
this
a
time
lot
of
out
year.
there. It's
And I know that the
unbelievable.
industry will bounce back, but we've had some great success
Tech
in
in
bringing
general
on
seems
some
to be just
amazing talent to the team
collapsing right now.
over the course of these last few months. We just celebrated the end of this milestone. We're going on break starting on Friday, and we'll be returning on January 2nd. We watched, we got together and rented out the theater here and watched Willy Wonka with our families and the developers.
Steven
That was a
didn't
lot of
know
fun.
it was a
I did not.
musical.
I did not know it was a musical. I'm not necessarily a fan of musicals, but I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. It
I
was
just
fun.
saw it
I looked
yesterday.
across the room when the first song started, and I said, "Oh, I didn't know that." But regardless, we had a lot of fun, and we're just kind of winding down the year. It's a lot of head fires right now with getting some of our playable builds over the week that we want to have available. But the team has been just killing it. So kudos to the team, everyone at Intrepid that's watching. Great job this year. I mean, it
If we
was
could
truly
get some, if
great.
you're watching us live here on Twitch, giving us some hearts in chat for our wonderful development team, I'm sure that they would
Absolutely.
appreciate that. And then, of course, if you're watching us over on YouTube, you can toss some hearts in there as well in the comments. We would love that.
Toss no one a heart.
We just appreciate you guys. We hope that you appreciate us. We try to give as much love and
Oh man, this
and
Sprite is
knowledge to you all,
delicious. I'm
the
so glad
Teenage
I
Mutant
went and
Ninja
got it
Turtles
right
made
before the
best
stream
sounds.
started.
I know.
Put that on the floor.
But whilst we're getting all those hearts in chat, we can continue them for the love of the art. If you don't mind
Yes.
us moving on to that, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first and foremost, we have a whole slew of
A
weapons
ball.
that we're going to be showing off for you guys, including books, wands, focuses, scepters, daggers, spears,
Shield.
bows, shields, swords. So I'll kind of let this loop through so you can see all of the cool things. There's a whole set of
It looks like a
novice
beat
items
up
that they've been
sword.
working towards, as
Sort
well
of.
as I believe the Sons of Fortune set and a few other little bits and pieces here.
It's
We're
like a
we're
standard
working on
spear.
making sure that when you're leveling up from level 1 through 15, that you have a lot of cool things that you can craft, as well as things that you can attain through, defeating creatures and stuff like that. So they're really honing in on that level 1 through 15 experience when it comes to loot drops and crafting items. I don't know if you have anything else to add on that front, Stephen.
No, it's just we've been very heads down for the better part of this year, focusing on the feature development of a lot of the gameplay systems, and over the course of the last few months, we've been gearing up, obviously, towards Alpha 2, which you'll be getting a little bit of an announcement here in a second, and focusing
That's
on
what I've
the
been waiting for,
progression
Stephen.
path, from level 1 all the way up to level
I'm gonna fall
30, I
asleep,
believe,
Stephen,
we're
before you get to
targeting
it.
for Alpha 2. So it's been nice to kind of see some of the lower level stuff getting some TLC, but also the character progression as well. And I think the artists have done a great job with a lot of these weapons.
Yeah, and obviously, as you level up further, there will be more crazy.
I do
cool
like the
stuff,
longbow and
so,
short bow has a
just
drastic
kind of
size difference and style difference.
We don't like to. We don't want to show you everything, but give
So you can kind of tell that
we
apart
also
when you
have
fight
that
someone.
mace in a little turntable as well. For those of you mace lovers out there, I'm a big mace fan. As like a cleric / paladin, so
It looks like a mace, and someone's like,
pretty cool.
I need some blades on there,
Yeah,
please.
I love that maze. It looks great.
The next one we have is this is a work in progress, but we like to share some work in progress stuff. So the next one is the Remnant Sympathizer outfit. This is the part of the last pack. Like I said, it's work in progress. There will be.
I'll be honest, I like it
effects and
less
things of that sort. They're still finalizing things, but you
here
can
than I
see
did
where
in
it's headed.
the preview
It's cool for me 'cause I
part or whatever it
designed it,
was.
so seeing it in a
Ooh, look at
3D
that.
space,
Oh,
this gets me
Margaret.
excited.
Yeah, I did not like this set at all.
But yeah,
Looks
they've been
great.
killing it. Danny's been doing a good job making it come to 3D life. And then I think we have a turntable of this as well.
Are those all little candles or fire? Are those firecrackers hanging from the horns? Because that would entice me into this setup. But that's what it is.
That's where this came from.
Very dark.
I know a lot of people are like, how did this come out of her?
Very dark.
It's the same place that the snores came out of, the wisp walk, out of this weird mind of mine. Next, we have the Goblin Shaman that Jinxie's been working on, which is very, very cool. You'll be definitely seeing this bad boy in Alpha 2. 3D model.
Oh, look at him.
Aw,
He's
so
just ready
cute.
to flay some humans.
It's fine. But I love the mask. I really hope that the mask and the staff are droppable items, because I think people would love let me know in chat if you would rock that mask, because
I don't know if I rock the mask. The staff looks pretty cool though.
In real life too, if we
so
can get some
Jinxie,
cosplay.
we need that as a mask item, and that staff too. It's so cool.
I'd like to walk into a conference room with that mask on.
I'm here for
But not at a Intrepid, just some random
you know how like they have
conference
the
room.
speaking sticks or something like that? You just have a speaking mask. Everyone.
Oh shit!
Yes.
We used to do that at my Pathfinder table when we were like younger in high school, because otherwise everyone would talk over each other. So we had we had funny hats. So if you were wearing funny hat, that meant you were like in character. So you had to so you knew who was trying to get stuff happening versus not. Because we had 13 people, so it was a lot.
You had 13 people in your high school?
Yeah, well, 13 people in our high school D&D game.
Class. Oh, and D&D game. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
Because we played on Sundays after church. It was fun though.
Oh, as you do after church. Very nice.
you fight demons after church. That's pretty traditional.
This is like we're doing that.
Oh no.
Back in that day, back in the 90s, when people thought we were doing bad things.
Right.
But yeah, great job, Chris, Danny, Jinxie, Manny, and Priscilla, killing it. We always love seeing your stuff, so thank you for sharing it. I know sometimes they're working on stuff and they're like, I don't want to share it yet, but we get to see a lot of amazing artwork from these guys and gals. So I'm glad we get to share a little bit of it. And you'll see tons more in Alpha. So moving on to Q&A.
All right.
All right, we'll play some more videos, or we'll play the ranger stuff while we're doing Q&A.
And maybe we just do
Please,
Q&A
if you're
for the
wearing
next 10 minutes.
staff as a
Alright.
tank, sir, I'm leaving party.
We can do the announce?
Yep, we'll do the announce.
All right, let's do
The
it.
thing that everyone's been waiting for.
Oh my goodness.
Chrono Stormwater wants to know about general respecking. I know we've talked about this topic before, but being
So
very particular.
I just kept my little
But
staff
as
on.
artisans
I'm like, don't worry, guys. That's all I
what are
have. I
your
don't have a
plans for
shield.
the
I just
wider
whack
respecking
people as a
landscape of
tank.
Ashes of Creation? Will it be easy or difficult, and will there be a cost involved with general respecing?
I think they've asked
This
this
is more
before.
in archetype specific. I know we've talked
For
about
sure.
it in other aspects before.
Yeah. It's going to be more difficult in artisanship. From an archetype perspective, as it relates to skills, it will be a bit easier. I am still conflicted on whether or not I want to allow respecs on the fly. I don't believe we should. I believe that respecking should be done at a particular location that requires a bit of transit and some strategic
fine with
thinking
me.
ahead of time
That's
about
fine
the
with me.
encounters that you're expecting. But respecking your class should be relatively easier, obviously with that constraint of being at a particular location.
Yeah, Rashad, that ranger combat looked pretty good. I was pretty satisfied with it. You know, I obviously prefer to play it.
The player collects a 1 per server item, but stops playing stops paying their subscription or quits playing the game. Will they get to keep the item till they return?
It depends. It depends on the item. If we're talking about artifacts, those will likely be timed. There are some ideas that we have around whether or not artifacts get to stay with the character, get downgraded.
You know, that's a good
artifact
point. They
status,
didn't.
if they were to, let's say, not log
At
in
the
after a period
very
of time,
end,
or
when
if
they
that
were
time
fighting
period goes
spiders,
away.
Steven got
But
hit
it's
as a
something we're gonna be
ranger.
testing as part of
And he took a lot of damage, so he looked squishy.
But right now, artifacts are timed.
But that was the only time we saw
For those of
damage.
you who are new, artifacts are really, really rare items that you can
Single
obtain.
items,
Yeah, and
yes.
there's only 1 of them on the server. So
At a
they are
time,
very,
correct? Yeah.
very
Steal.
cool.
Okay.
The next one is VR Dynasty, I believe, or Ver Dynasty. They want to know about crafting recipes. With the map being as large as it is and recipes being potentially earned anywhere, are there region-specific recipes that would be very hard to find, if not impossible to earn on the other side of Vera? So will there be rare
absolutely.
recipes?
There are absolutely extremely rare recipes, and not just having rare recipes, but also there are rare unlocks that exist within the recipe as well, as we talked about last month, that you can discover. Recipes get delivered in a number of different ways through vendors, through social organizations.
I do like the mobility of the ranger a lot.
Drops,
It's pretty good.
and it kind of through treasures as well. And a lot of those can be locationally dependent. So yes, there are recipes in certain areas that you can find that you will not find in other areas as well.
Look, I tried to get a wolf mount the other day, and that thing is complicated too. So,
Yes,
whatever
that's
you,
right.
there's many things that will be at the end of it. You will feel very satisfied that you do
Wolf
it.
mom, eh? Okay.
The next one is Raven016, who wants to know about crafting. How many Grandmaster level crafting stations can a node stage 5, aka city node, have?
That's all
right
specific.
now, I believe, so Grandmaster Station at stage 5. I believe that there can be 1 Grandmaster Station at stage 5 and that there can be 2 at stage 6.
Ooh.
Yeah, I thought it was
I
2
believe.
at the Metropolis, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Tyrol wants to know about universal skills. Will each archetype be equally efficient with universal skills like dodging and active blocking, or will each of them kind of have their own versions and flavors, or will some people be more powerful than others?
Yeah, right now we have a host of different universal skills. That is rolling, active block, and what we want to do is we want to provide a progression path that's shared for those universal skills across all the archetypes. So when you spend skill points, you can choose to spend them within the universal skill set and unlock particular ability types for the universal skills as well.
Oh.
But you will be spending them from the skill points that you would normally spend within your class specifics.
I need to see how
This
this
offers,
plays out
again,
in the
a
game,
different
because that
feel of
seems a little
customization
odd.
that I think is interesting.
Right, and then
Can I
Lily
double
wants
my
to know
roll
about node
distance?
artisanship benefits. We know that the best processing is done in freeholds and the best crafting is done in nodes, but is that restricted to academic nodes only? What benefits or restrictions do node types have in regards to crafting?
There are no restrictions as it relates to the best crafting, meaning access to those crafting stations. However, the academic or scientific nodes, those provide bonuses and strengths towards crafting within the node, right? So it's not a hard lockout; it's a soft bonus system.
Okay. And then Gall wants to
Okay.
know about world building. Is it correct that Intrepid Studios is building the Western continent first and then the Eastern continent is coming afterwards, or is that not the right way to think about the game's direction of development?
No, that is accurate. We are focused on the Western continent first, I don't know how you got that information. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
Yes,
it's in the
we're
map,
focused.
and then
I
we're
know,
talking
I
about
know,
the areas. I think they
I
can.
know.
Anybody can read
Yes,
a map.
we are focused on the Western continent right now. That is accurate. Yes.
Top wants to know about AoE abilities. Is the impact of an area effect, offensive or defensive, limited to a number of targets or by an area?
Currently, our diminishing return approach is not to restrict the number of targets that can be affected by a particular thing. We do have player collision. So in and of itself, that provides a limited quantity of individuals who can be affected by area of effect spells. We're going to be playtesting and experimenting with a few different diminishing return approaches as it relates to AoE abilities, as well as status conditions.
Okay.
And as I wrap up these last two questions, I think we're going to be able to answer them in time. I don't know if Wagner or Roshan want to get a poll in chat. I'm just curious what quarter everyone thinks next year will go into Alpha 2, and we'll see if where it
What
matches
quarter?
up against what the announce is. So the next
It'll be
question
December
here is
next
from
year.
Paddock, and they want to know about gathering. If another player is gathering a tree and I come in for the final chop, do I get the tree?
If you come in and so it depends on who completes the gathering interaction first. So if they've begun and you come in and you have a faster gathering time because of either your profession experience, the tool you're using, the upgrades you've chosen, or the outfit you're wearing, you could conceivably complete it before them. But again, it is awarded to the first player.
Yeah, it is. It is nice. That is a good element that they have in this game, and I hope that
about ranged attacks.
I hope they keep collision for
on why the minimum distance
forever, because that is such a nice element.
The Rangers' ranged attacks. This came from a conversation with you on Discord.
Sure. So to give greater context there, originally when I was thinking about the Ranger, I had thought about introducing a minimum range requirement in order to offset its flexibility in combat and having them think a little bit more strategically about positioning on the battlefield. That became an unfun experience when we play tested it. And so
when will
we decided
A2
to
release? Let's do the poll.
Instead, we may choose to play
Quarter
around
four,
with things
votes.
like range, too close of range
Three of
affecting
us.
something maybe like accuracy. We haven't play tested with that, or we just might not incorporate it and instead let it live within the abilities. You saw an example of that with regards to the lightning ability.
Don't be stupid, guys. It's going to be quarter four.
Conferred at different ranges. That right now is the approach that we're taking.
And with that, we ready for our little announce?
I hope.
Play it?
I think. Well, before we play it, maybe we can play it. Or no, let me talk about this for a second.
I know we're gonna have some thoughts afterwards that we need to.
Okay, I want everyone in the audience to breathe with
I'm gonna
me.
pass out here in a second.
We're just gonna breathe in. Wait, hold on, that was out. Okay, breathe out. Now breathe.
Too much, Steven.
Breathe out. I want you to understand, those of you who are watching, those of you who might not be watching and following the project as much as others in our community.
Oh, we're doomed.
This is a long time coming. Alpha 2 is a major testing period for the product, for the game. And it is intended to be something that provides us with a great amount of wealth of information and iterative processing that we can then go back and touch on certain systems, combat, everything, right? Now,
we are going to give you our projection according to our schedule that we believe that we are going to hit Alpha 2. But we have already begun testing. We're going to be continuing testing over the course of the remainder of December, January, February, March. We are going to be testing a lot over the course of the next several months. Sometimes that testing can prove to set us back a little bit. Hopefully that is not the case. We are very far ahead of a lot of the more
Knock on wood.
nebulous questions from a development perspective. So we feel really good about it. But I want you to take obviously what we're announced with Alpha 2 with a grain of salt, right? This is not a game that we're launching in Alpha 2. This is truly a testing environment. This is something that if you are considering purchasing Alpha 2, that you should make sure you understand this is not a game experience. This is a testing
my God.
platform. Those of you who are in PI
You should have made it
and
someone
who
sign
are previous Alpha 1
like a
testers,
legal
it's going to
document.
be a lot of spot testing. It's going to be a lot of preparation for Alpha 2, and it's going to be a lot of work, essentially, right?
Steven, the people that want to play this
play
game
through wipes multiple times potentially before we
understand
get to
this
Alpha
and that
2.
are passionate
There may
about
be
this
wipes
game.
in Alpha 2.
The
right?
randos that show up that don't understand this will not play the game long once it launches, no matter what.
About Alpha 2 because it is a large segment of the game and in a pretty sizable portion of the world. And it is going to be a major test bed for us to validate the interactions of all of these systems that we've built. And it's going to be an exciting time and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. And so with that, I think that we can show when we expect Alpha 2 to land, which quarter in 2024.
Quarter 2 seems to be the winner. Quarter 3, everyone's wrong. Well, not everyone. Son of a bitch.
All right, there you have it. Quarter 3. We are going to see you all on Vera. We're very excited, and like Steven said, we are.
I was
doing
really
some
hoping
testing
quarter
internally
2.
already.
I really
know we
was.
mentioned last. I think Steven said we're already spot testing, and that got people. I got some people riled up because they're like, "Wait, I'm not there." So to kind of reiterate, right now we're doing internal testing. We're going to be expanding that to PI. They are the first people who get in. And then we will be expanding that further and further as we get further along, as we get closer to that quarter 3 mark. All of the testing prior to that quarter 3 mark will be under NDA unless we say otherwise. So keeping that in mind.
Call me up, Steven. I'm ready to test.
Because we won't be talking about it.
I got no other game to play, really.
So talking about it because it's not in a state that we're ready to share. But once we are in quarter 3, once we are ready to announce the
so
date,
quarter 3 is July, August, September?
Plan. And of course, we'll be reaching out to those of you who have Alpha 2 access in advance as well. So you'll get messaging, you'll be notified. Make sure that you have your email available, that you don't have us going to your spam so you don't miss it. But we'll also make note of this on all our social. Hey, emails have gone out. So if you are an Alpha 2...
Yeah, pretty much fall, late summer, early fall.
Stay tuned. We will be reaching out to you later as we get closer to quarter 3. And yeah, just want to make sure that that's clear because I think it got people. We got a lot of CS tickets that were like, I don't have access yet, and I was like, no, not yet. It confused people a little bit.
We will be very
when school starts.
Proactive with the
sort of for a lot of kids.
Guys, as Margaret said, keep an eye out on emails.
All right. Well, at least it'll be only adults for the it'll be kids too.
Yeah, and.
Who
knows?
I
think there were some questions that people had. I think we clarified the first bit of it. And then the second bit of it was the persistency of Alpha 2 and what that looks like. I think some people think persistence means 24/7 up forever.
Yeah, there will absolutely be downtimes 100%, right? Again, this is a testing bed. And when those downtimes need to happen or those wipes need to occur, we are going to do what's best for the product, not for the experience in Alpha 2. And that's a very clear distinguishment between what to expect when we launch the game, which is all about the player experience, versus the development process that is Alpha 2. So it's very important to understand that dichotomy.
And the goal is to eventually have our Alpha 2.
Some of these adults are kids. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Test down the line.
Yeah.
So it will kind of run simultaneously through the other ones, but of course, still downtime. There will be downtime. It's not going to be 24/7 always. I just wanted to make sure that was clear to folks because that I have been seeing a lot of discussion going around about that. Once we are in Alpha 2, that will no longer have an NDA. So then you'll be able to stream.
So really,
the
Alpha 1 people will be testing before
Keep it
quarter
safe,
3,
keep it safe.
technically,
Keep it safe. I like that. Yeah, that's good.
but under NDA.
Anything else you want to add on that front? Stephen?
No,
That's
just
fine.
excited and happy to be here with you guys. Excited for the end of the year. Excited for next year. It's going to be a fun time. And
So this
things are moving
confirms
fast.
this game will not be
I
out till
hope that you
2025.
all, are able to stay safe
At
and can
earliest.
spend time with those you love during this holiday season. I know not everybody has that opportunity, but you know, we do have community space over here. You can come hang out with us for the holidays. We are at Ashes of Creation, all the places. The YouTube video for the 4K version is up. The full development update video will go up tomorrow, pending, you know, YouTube wants to cooperate and Twitch wants to cooperate. Please head on over to our forums. We are always engaging you with feedback or asking you for feedback. You can head on to forums.ashesofcreation.com. We have several things. Drop rarities up right now. Give us your feedback on that. And of course, the Ranger archetype.
Or
We
later.
love
Yeah,
to
that's
hear
true.
your
Or
thoughts.
later.
Reminder that
2027
Order
at
Cosmetics
this
is going to
point.
be ending January 17th. So that is your last
Yeah,
chance to
Alpha
get
2
feedback
run
or your friends do.
for a year.
We may extend.
And then they've got
you know,
Beta
other
1, Beta
opportunities
2.
to purchase into Alpha 2 access.
There's
but still
no
not
way they're
all
gonna
the
meet.
packs available. So just keeping that in mind.
That
Yeah.
that is a big point. I want to make sure.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
that's very
We'll
true.
send messaging out as well. But we have given multiple months now of notice that we'll be ending the pre-order packages.
You know what kind of
come
bothers
January
me is that
17th. This is
they
not
said they were
intended to be a
primarily working
FOMO.
on the
Like I
Western
said, we have
continent,
multiple
right?
months of notice. We may be opening up Alpha 2
But my
access in a
worry is
different
have they
form at
even
some point
started the
in
Eastern
future, closer to
continent?
Alpha 2.
If we
You
can
know,
service
that's
those
a big
customers.
deal because you
Correct. And
can't
that's dependent on
you
internal
can't make
testing. It's dependent on
the
the external
content.
testing
You
that
can't
we're
make
doing as well.
quests till the story's
That
done.
is going to
I mean, you
help
can do
inform
basic
that decision.
storylines, but
as it stands now, we will.
and
be
then you
ending
can't mold the
pre-order
world
packages
to
January
the
17th
quest.
across everything.
There's-
Whether it be beta or alpha.
I don't know.
And then, of course, we would love to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much for all the raids and people who are watching from their other channels. We really appreciate that you're sharing the world of Vera with other people and sharing the love for Ashes of Creation. We really, really appreciate that. And of course, thank you to
Yeah, I
all of
caught
you
that.
who are watching and joining us and sticking with us throughout this entire very long live stream. And of course,
Is this another
to-
2-hour live stream?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Well,
man. I don't
we've
know.
also
I
had
was
a lot
very
of side
optimistic. If they had said
conversations,
quarter
like,
2,
wrapping up the year,
I would have
we
been
don't wanna rush
fine
it,
with the
right?
launch in
Thank
2025.
you to Trad and Brian and Keenan
But-
for their work and joining us for a showcase.
Because that way, at least they could be like, yeah, we're going to start in early quarter 2, like,
we hope that
April.
you all are going to be just as excited as us in the new years.
And then, I don't know, 6 months of Alpha 2, and then a couple
I'm
betas,
so
and then
excited. I cannot wait. John and I are
Mid-
ready to go.
25 they
We're
launch.
everything.
Yay! I'm
Hmm.
so excited. So yeah, not only have we been wrapping up,
and
the year,
now
we've
it's
also
feeling
been
like
planning weddings, so
26.
been
It's
crazy
almost going to
times.
be a decade before this game
But
comes
we
out,
will see you all next
since they
month for another
released the
holiday update.
Kickstarter.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, bye guys.
Crazy. So let that run for a second. But yeah, that's I don't know. Like, I'm all down for this game, and I'm of course I'm going to be here when it launches, unless I'm dead, which every year it's getting closer. But I mean, I I don't know. Yeah, you're really on that. A2 will be a year. You know, as much I'd hate to say it, you're probably right in that aspect. That it'll end up being a year just because of how, I don't want to say slow their development is. It does feel slow. I know they were a small team for most of the time, and they just got pretty big. But man, You'll be 62. Oh man, yeah, it's gonna be. I know it's gonna be. That Alpha 2 is gonna be long. And a year sounds like a reasonable amount of time. So that means Alpha 2 will launch. Let's say at earliest, if they stick with the quarter 3, July of 24. So that means Alpha 2 won't end till, let's say, June of 24. That'll give it a year. And then maybe they'll take a month or two and then do like a beta 1 at the very tail end of 25. Then maybe a beta 2 at the like March of 26, and then launch in June of 26 at this rate. I want to say, and that's if they're like clipping along working. We haven't seen. I mean, reliably we've only seen what, 3 classes, 4 maybe, with like fighter, tank, mage, ranger, right? Or is there cleric? I don't know. I'm kind of confused in how some of the previews. I can't remember what they've shown, but this thing gives me a seizure whenever it flashes. I mean, we still have the bard. That's got to get done. The summoner. That we haven't even seen these two. I'm trying to think what the other ones are. A proper tank, I guess, is one that we haven't seen. Right, that's true. We've seen what? I mean, in Alpha 1, we saw a slight variety. There was like the mountains, there was like the forest, there was that. It wasn't a desert, it was that plateau area, and then a tropical area. So in the Alpha, we saw like 4 or 5 zones. But since then, and that was just on that little island thing. But since then, we haven't. I mean, we get the river plains every single week, every month. They previewed the desert biome that 1 month when they were talking about Unreal 5, I think it was. And then the Riverlands, and then there's that snow biome they showed that one other month, I think a long time ago. And they were going through some cave or whatever it was, and there was like a jump puzzle or something he was doing. I don't know, it's kind of weird. It almost felt like more of a adventure game than MMO. But yeah, they really only have those few biomes, and they're I don't know. There's a lot that they gotta do to fill that in, I think, to get that going. Yeah, if we're looking probably at a year. Summer 26 is what I would say this game is going to launch at this point. Is my relatively firm guess. Because they got a lot of work to do. I would like it, I don't know what their internal testing setup is. I know they get the Phoenix Initiative players in, and I don't remember how many there are of those. Excuse me. There might be like 20 of them or something like that. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into how many people Kickstarted. But man, what they should really do, in my opinion, is open up testing earlier to a dedicated team of testers that's constant. Personally, I would like to volunteer, obviously. However, it is one of those things that if you have a dedicated team and that's all they do is Q&A test and play around, there's a lot that can get done. Especially if it's like, if my case, it would be my game to play. But I'm sure other people would make it their, I don't know. I think it would go well if they open it up to outside sources, at least for Q&A testing and just seeing if things are broken. PvP water, let alone just PvP. Yeah, they did mention at one point we will see PvP next month in January, so that's a good point. Building mayors, kings. Yeah, I mean there's nodes. They've shown. They had that already? Sort of. But yeah, there's like nodes. Yeah, they've shown us stuff, but they haven't delved deep into it. I can't imagine their quests are pretty built up yet. I mean, I'm sure there's storylines and an overall story path and everything like that throughout the whole game plan, but I just don't see them like. I just don't see them having a lot of it, already done. I don't know. It's one of those things that's like they show off good updates, but then you realize that there's another massive game out. Their art seems to be fantastic. They seem to be on the ball with their art department, but you don't know what art you need to make until the storyline's done or the world has been made, and it sounds like half the world hasn't been touched yet. I don't know. I like to see I like seeing the date or the date range. I wish we had a little more, obviously, but hey, that's fine. I'm pretty happy with their current setup. So they have the pre-group going now, but just yeah, that's the thing. It's just spot testing, and I don't know if it's spot testing because that's all they want to manage, but there almost should be a thing where they're like, I'm sure they have a persistent world that gets like a master build pushed to it, maybe once a week or every other week, that they can have testers log in whenever it's online and just mess with the game. And there could be like bullet points on like a message. You send an email out, hey, we need these things tested this week. Just let us know what you think. And then you go and just beat up on a goblin for 5 hours or whatever it is, and then they get a bunch of like detailed stats back. And you can go from there. But because I've done testing like that before, where it was actually bullet points for a game, and I was able to just jump on and play for a while, and I would write a little feedback thing, a survey, and I'd say, hey, here's my thoughts on this, blah blah blah, whatever, and that seemed to be pretty good, and my commenter did make it into the game, I know that, but it is one of those things that would have been real. I think Ashes could benefit from. So, but yeah, like I said, we'll see what happens with this. With spot testing, you can focus on certain things and not people running around not testing what they should. Yes, I agree. That let me make it clear. When I'm pro testing, what I've just said is that it's more than spot testers, because spot testers to me is like, all right, the servers are up for this 5-hour window, do these things, and then you've got like the big wave of alpha people where it's like, all right, servers are up for like 3 weeks, just do whatever you want, see what happens. I'm talking more of like, you just have a persistent world and you get a bullet point list, so it's like a little more than spot testers but a little less, and there's only like maybe 100 of them total. SWTOR did that back in the day when they were testing, or BioWare did that for SWTOR, and that's the testing I was in. I played it like I was in a PvP build where all we did was PvP on the first 3 maps of the game for about a month, and that's all it was. We would be loaded in. I think there was only about like 100 of us total in this testing, and we just PvP'd. And then once in a while they would drop us down into the first planet just to test out early leveling and stuff, which was fun. And a great way to set up, and there's a lot of changes that we were like, this is horrible. And they did change. There's things that people commented on, nothing happened. So, it was one of those things that, take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But, I got to chew on this for a while. I got to chew on this. So, but anyways, guys, I appreciate it. I'm gonna wrap it up. It's 2 hours and almost 2.5 hours. My son came home. I got to see what he's up to. He goes on winter break here, and he's got tomorrow, and then he's on winter break. So maybe we'll stream some games. Who knows what happens? It's a crazy world out there. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. I am squeetee. Squeetee.com is my website. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. I didn't advertise, damn it. I have a Etsy shop or a personal little Square shop up. If you go to my website, you can go find some random stuff. It's all Gundam related. I'm a huge Gundam nerd. Go find it. Eventually, I will make things like this flag here. Designed, made it, had it printed and made up. I'm selling those. Eventually, I'll have Squeetee stuff. Eventually, I'll have BMF Guild stuff. a bunch of stuff will go up, especially with Ashes when it starts rolling a little more. I'm going to be obviously playing that and streaming it. So if you want more Ashes stuff, please by all means come back. And if you like Gundam, I'm uploading videos randomly of random games at this point. It's just hard to get motivated when your one game you want to play is not out. So yes, and making sure he doesn't set fire to things. My concern right now is that he doesn't sit on his phone for about 15 hours a day watching YouTube videos, because that seems to be what he's doing. So it's one of that's my big problem right now. You know what? And honestly, I told him if he ever wants to light things on fire, I told him to ask me, and we could do it in like the backyard or something in a barrel. We'll just light that sucker off. I don't know what he wants to do, but he has options. But anyways, guys, that's all I got. I appreciate it, and I'll catch y'all on the next one, January or my next stream. So have a good one. Thanks, man. You have a good one too, Chewy. I appreciate you stopping by as always. So, all right, peace, everybody.